Yeah. We in here. As always. It's just our opinion podcast. Your boy, Chaos. You already know. DJ Trucker, Motivator. In the place to be. Broadcasting live and direct. In a good state of my home state, birthplace state of California. You know what I'm saying? Northern / Central California. A little small town. Shit, I can't even name the damn town. Los Lobos or some shit like that out here. These are places that I never went to when I was young back in the days I can remember coming up. But we here. You know what I'm saying? Much love to you guys out there. Without further ado, you already know. Gotta bring my partner in crime, my brother from another mother. You already know who he is. Yes, sir. Oh, I got everything on the screen. Here we go. What it do, bro?
Real sense of urgency right now about getting to a ceasefire deal.
Shalom, family. Shalom, Miss Parker.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. We here. I forgot to call again on camera. Plug my camera up. Shit, I'm just all fucked up right now. I had to try to put all that goddamn pictures and all kind of shit that we're gonna be talking about tonight on the podcast. I didn't get a chance to really do everything like I wanted to because I've been rolling shit. But we here. We here. Bro, you said it's raining down your way?
Yeah, it's doing it right now. They talking about Oklahoma probably get some more weather down that way to tear them up some more. So they can go ahead and look forward for that to come down. So that's how it's going right now at the moment.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's been getting. I heard they've been getting a lot of severe weather for the last last 36 to 48 hours. You know, across the southeast and the Midwest. Iowa got some tornadoes. Nebraska, of course, Oklahoma. Like Tennessee, certain parts of Tennessee. I don't know, but I know that they got. I had a video. I was gonna show it, but the Dollar Tree I was telling you about, they got tore up down in Oklahoma, and I was like,
they saying something about that.
I'm talking about destroy. Yeah, they demolished that motherfucker. Trailers and everything thing all thrown all over the place. Then you know you got all those damn products and stuff. All that's thrown all over the warehouse.
This new diplomatic website laid out. What is he hoping to achieve?
Well, that's the best way to do it.
What they gonna do with all that stuff? They gonna probably box all that shit up and retail it. They gonna sell it if it ain't damaged. You know how America get down. Come on now.
Yeah, that's if everybody go. That's if it don't get looted right now. I mean, right now with the storm where it is right now, yeah.
Well, the way they doing shit, I'm sure the goddamn they probably got state police and all kind of law enforcement watching around that place. So everything probably ain't gonna do too much nothing. That place sitting off in the country, so you know, it ain't like it's just in an urban area or some area where somebody can really steal. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
probably pretty straight.
Then again, though, if everybody know the dollar, you know what I'm saying, down. If they know the general dollar, you know what I'm saying, the general down.
Yeah, well, only thing I can tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, if y'all go to Dollar Tree and y'all go in the store, they start raising the prices up. That's the reason why, because they had a bad tornado hit their distribution center that basically fluctuates all the stores in the southeast and parts of the mid-south and Midwest is destroyed. So you look at the store looking kind of skimpy. That's the reason why. But go ahead, bro.
They should be giving out supplies. Being Dollar General and the big chain they are, you're going to get your supplies back. You're going to get your store back up. So why not help the community out right now? Just tell everybody, you know what I'm saying, if it's eligible, y'all can come on get it. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we need. They got, you know what I'm saying? There's plenty of stuff they're gonna need, you know what I'm saying? Blankets back, well, not blankets, they ain't got them probably Dollar Tree, you know what I'm saying? But household stuff, definitely got food items in there, they can grab that. You know what I'm saying? Laundry detergent, they're gonna definitely need that. Deodorant, soap, all that. Man, they let them folks get the basics, man. The basics are needed right now. The basics are needed. Stuff like, you know what I'm saying, boxers, panties, bras, all that's on the rubber right now. But we'll see how they do.
You'll think
In this
that.
great land of America.
You'll think that, but yeah, right. But you know, like I said, hopefully they'll figure it out because chances are, like I say, I know they're gonna probably a lot of that stuff that didn't get damaged or whatever the case may be, they probably gonna just retail it, rebox it or whatever they're gonna do and resell it. They're probably gonna send a lot of this shit down to some kind of other vendor warehouse where they're gonna try to distribute all that stuff that wasn't destroyed, put it up there. You know what I'm saying? Since they're just to their warehouse, because it's gonna be a while before they're gonna be able to do anything in their warehouse. Because it was demolished.
Now you know what we was talking, you know what I'm saying? I think like Lane, we was talking about how the difference is between the Walmarts. Like if you go out west or up north, you know what I'm saying, to where the bigger cities at, you hop in their Walmarts, they may have like, you know what I'm saying, clothes racks, extra selection of this, that, and the third. But we come back to other Walmart, it's in the newspaper and it's in the, you know, coupon, but they ain't got it at that stuff. So when I'm bringing my point around is the same stuff that they got on here that you say shipping down the warehouse, stuff like that, they'll probably ship that down, you know what I'm saying, the other Dollar General around this way, and they'll sell it off for them. Still goes back to the same person. But the thing is, they can't make no money off of it right now.
Yeah.
And these other fools right here not understanding, they just came from, you know what I'm saying, a spot where just got tore up. You're supposed to get a discount on it, but they're going to hit you with the high price, and you're going to go and grab it. I can see that happening.
True that. True that.
Hold for a second.
Well, okay. Hopefully they'll get that all figured out, I guess. Like I say, in that damn warehouse, I looked at that video because somebody had a drone. They were flying over that store, and it just showed that store just towed straight to hell. But not, I'm talking about like maybe I want to say about 85, 95% of the store is destroyed. And then I seen some of the pallets and stuff on the racks and stuff. Some of them didn't even get touched. And a lot of them got destroyed and got touched and thrown all over the place, including the damn 18-wheeler trailers they you know, transport the product in. They trailers got destroyed and thrown all over the goddamn yard. Boy, I tell you, boy, the wrath of the Most High don't be playing, boy. Y'all gotta wake up. Going down. Ain't playing. Y'all play games y'all want to, I'm telling you. The wrath of God ain't playing with y'all.
So much.
But that's a whole nother topic tonight. Well, we can go and get into the main course. You know what I'm saying? We got the advertise out of the way. Now let's get to the main dinner. The good and bad of our culture in black entertainment. What is this about? Oh, okay, well, I'll tell you what it's all about. It's about the goodness of our culture, which consists of good TV shows, movies, and music. Mainly hip hop. You know, R&B too. You know, I think they are R&B. You know what I'm saying?
Really had time to think about it.
As you can see, this right here
Nebraska, multiple
is
tornadoes through Douglas
our
County.
greatness of television throughout the years.
Neighboring Iowa also seeing tornado activity. NBC News correspondent Jessica.
A lot of these pictures I couldn't get all on here, but you know, as you can see, that's what I came up with off the top of my dome. You know what I'm saying? You got TV shows like Bernie Mac show, all the way down to Good Times.
Yeah,
Which became one of the first sitcoms in television history. that features an all black family.
On the side, we've got shards of wood here.
A lot of folks don't know that that TV show had went through a lot of trials and tribulations as far as
Bricks.
disagreements on how the show was written and who was really the creator and the writer of that show,
And there can always be glass, nails,
which
and
was a guy named Eric Monty. Eric Monty was the creator of all these shows that Norman Lear,
before death, at least
the
four
late
deaths in
Norman, Mr. Lear that just died, got credit for.
After a brutal weather.
He wrote that TV show on the back of what he lived and what he was going through living in the city of Chicago back in the day.
Been around the state for it's my
And
6th year.
they pretty much rolled it into comedy, but at the same time, it was too much comedy. They kind of flooded it out with too much comedy because it wasn't really wrote like Eric Monty wanted to be wrote for it to be wrote. They literally went over his head and wrote the show into a buffoonery type of show,
They got some rough weather.
to where it was like showing that it was a father, a mother,
Yeah, College Station
and kids involved, but at the same time,
some flooding
but
as well.
your volume was a little too high on the TV back in the background.
We'll be looking to see as more
Yeah.
information comes out. This has been days of weather in Texas. The
Aaron,
worst
bro.
days that was hit Friday.
Say again.
We've had at least 120.
No, I'm just saying your TV kind of high in the background.
Nebraska.
All right.
So you can imagine.
Your volume was a little bit. I know. I was like, damn. I know that ain't me because I ain't got nothing on in there besides the AC. But
Apologies on that.
anyway,
Is that better?
Yeah. You good? So anyway, like I was saying, Eric Monty wrote that TV show to the point where he wanted to show black excellence of a family that had a father and a mother in the home, to show the world that, that it's destined for us to have a mother and a father in the home that's raising their children. And quiet is kept. Esther Rose, who played Florida Evans, she said she would not do a TV show if it didn't consist of her husband being in the home. Because she said she got tired of seeing TV shows that represented single black women being in the home by herself, raising kids. So Norman Lear went ahead and cast the brother John Amos as James Evans Sr. Now, if you see John Amos, Good Times, you can see that there was a man he was a father that really meant and said what he meant and meant what he said and took care of his family and protected his family. He was a great mentor for the television, for black audience, to show that the father needs to be in the home because it gives good control and protection of the family. Black, of course, Norman Lear and them didn't agree on it because the thing was, the agenda was to make black women think that they didn't need a black man and that they can do bad by themselves and that they didn't need no man to basically control the narrative of the family structure in black society. So they took his character out. What they said, the reason why they took his character out because John Amos was giving them so much shit, which he was giving them shit because he felt like there was more than just Jimmy Walker, J.J. Evans, aka J.J. Evans, but all they wanted you to see was his character doing dynamite and doing all kind of shucking and jiving and doing all kind of weirdo ass shit. So he kept telling them, like, it's more than us. You had Thelma, Thelma Evans, his daughter, that played his daughter on there, Bernadette Stennis, who was trying to be a doctor. And then the son, little Michael Evans, who played, I forgot the brother name, Ralph something. I could never get his name for shit. But you know what I'm saying? He wanted to be a lawyer. The whole concept was that these young people had their minds already sawed up on what they wanted to do with their lives. You don't hear very much of that nowadays with the young folks nowadays, because I mean, like I said, I ain't gonna go too far into that, but the thing is, it just shows you how they can take something good and automatically turn it into bad. So the first and second season of that TV show, Good Times, was a good TV show. Was a damn good show. But at the same time, they have all white writers. And majority of all these black TV shows throughout history has always been a white person involved in our affairs on telling us what's best and what's less. Now, later on down the line, that TV show may fade away for a lot of more black TV shows throughout history in the future. You know, you had TV shows like, you know, at the Good Times, you start getting the Jeffersons. Then you got the Cosby Show. Then you got Family Manners. Then you got the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Then you got the My Wife and Kids. You know what I'm saying? You know, Bernie Mac Show. You know, I mean, hell, even What's Happening, you know what I'm saying, was kind of family oriented a little bit. But the only thing about it, they wanted to go back to the narrative of a single black woman, a single black parent raising 2 kids. But even through all those TV shows, they had their different dialogues, and all it was just wanted to show a black face in a white face on national television. And a lot of those shows were all comedy. But everything that you think is funny is not always funny. There's always something behind it that basically stereotypes us in a way that we could never imagine in our society. Because, like I said, we go back to the Good Times TV show. Good Times TV show, it had a lot of good messages in that show. Like the whole idea that James was there, and he gave law and order in that house, which most people might think in this day and time is a bad thing, because they would have said the same thing like Caucasians said. Oh, he was just too aggressive, he's too mean, and he always talking about how you gonna put a belt on their butt if they don't do right, this, that, and other. But at the same time, they never seen the thought that James was a manly man of that time. And it gave a lot of good stigma of black family structure excellence back in those days, because it was always meant for a man to be the front runner of the house. A woman had no business being the front runner. She was the assistant. And like I say, you can go in the Bible, the Holy Quran, any other books out there, and it will tell you about those situations. But at the same time, this TV show did just what it's supposed to have done in the second season. And that was to show a real black family structure in the home. Now, bro, you want to say anything about these TV shows that you can partake in, that you remember coming up as a child?
I would like to say on the topic of all of it is that having a strong, father in the household, especially with our people, is extremely important. Reason being, this father, this melanated male, has seen what society does to our people, how it views our people, how it treats our people, how it thinks about our people. Now, with this knowledge that's already bestowed upon this man, he's now trying to pass that down to his offspring. And the way they does that, when I'm telling you, don't go left, stay right. And they go right. Mm-hmm. I know they keep going right down the road. Society is going to discipline. And society's discipline is not the same as what I would call discipline. My discipline is to get your attention to bring you to the point of what I'm trying to tell you that's going to save your life. Society's discipline is, I see you in the wrong, I'm going to take your life. Regardless if you understood it or not. So when you take an authority figure out that way, and I know a lot of our women say, you know what I'm saying, well, I'm in the house, so I'm the authority figure. That's true, because by default you are. But the thing about it is, if you're conveying your emotional side over in real-time situations that require logic, they're going to fail.
Yep.
If you look at the pictures, people, there's a man in the family. That's just not for show and tell. That's the model.
Mm.
So I'm going to yield back.
Yes, sir. That's the thing, the whole thing about this whole fiasco tonight. You know, it's not to really go in about the family structure. It's just to go in on the fact that we had good things that was tarnished to be bad, because all these TV shows were good TV shows. Even Martin, you know what I'm saying? Because Martin
Great.
and them, you know, Martin, even though he did a lot of weirdo shit, he was doing too much, but that was all part of the comedy side of the game. But at the same time, they got in Martin Lawrence's head, because he wanted to do the show the way he see fit. They wanted to do the show the way they see fit. So it literally got him all in a confusion, because, like I said again, they took a good thing and made it bad. And you know, it got to the point where, you know, him and Tisha Campbell, you know what I'm saying, started locking ass with each other, because, you know, he kind of got a little attached to Tisha Campbell, like they was really together when they really wasn't. They were just doing this shit on television, and that kind of went to the left. And then, not to mention, he had Garrett Morris on the first and second season, I think, that TV show. And when Garrett Morris got shot out there in Inglewood that time, not in South, out in South Central, not Inglewood, but in South Central that time, he claimed that he had went to go see Garrett Morris in the hospital, and that he said he was crying, and he was feeling some kind of way to see him laying up in that hospital bed. And Garrett Morris said he never even came to see me. And then he was like, you know, that was a lie, because he's like, they even killed his character off the show instead of letting him get himself together to come back on the show. They killed his character off the show. They just went ahead and just got rid of the character. The same way they did with James Evans, where it was a different scenario. How they did John Amos on Good Time. They killed him off because he was literally trying to tell them motherfuckers that I'm sick of this bullshit that y'all trying to possess on the people. Mm-hmm. And you know, because he had already knew where they were going with that show. So, you know what I'm saying, they had to get rid of him. But Garrett Morris, his whole idea was that, you know, I got shot, and you would have thought my cast members, you know, my leading cast member at that, would have came and showed me some love, or try to have my back during my trials and tribulations of me laying up in this goddamn hospital, and all I got was I'm fired.
Cold world.
So, you know what I'm saying? So that's the reason why it was a lot. But like I said, beyond all that, we didn't have social media back then. We didn't have none of the shit that we got now. So you really didn't know what the hell was going on behind the scenes of these TV shows. But he with Bernie Mac, okay, we can go like, let's see, the Bernie Mac show. What did you like good about that show? Because that was a real good show. God rest, you know, to the brother.
He reminded me of James Evans, just more comedic.
Yeah.
That's who he reminded me of.
And the funny thing about him, he was from Chicago. He was from the south side of Chicago. So he could relate to the whole concept of this, of how Eric Monty wrote Good Time. You know what I'm saying? Because hell, he lived that same lifestyle on the south side.
He grew up watching it and living it.
Huh?
He grew up watching it and living it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Right there in Chicago.
So
it don't get no better.
Yeah. So Bernie Mac, you know what I'm saying, he had already knew how the man, the power structure of a black man being in the home with his family was very important. That's why you watch all his episodes, you're gonna get a laugh out of it, but you can also get some messages in it too. Like I run this goddamn home. You gonna do what I say do? Because he literally took three little kids that was supposed to be raised by a nothing ass uh, sister-in-law,
No, that was
and
his
basically
sister.
cleaned them up.
It was his nephew and
Huh?
nieces.
Yeah, that was his sister. Yeah, that was his sister. Yeah, and changed the game
Mm-hmm.
because they came in, they was all fucked up. They didn't know how to do certain things. They were just this normal hood, so-called urban hood kids.
I
That
don't
was
think
just
folks
misguided.
understand. You know what I'm saying? Pardon to cut you off, my brother.
No, bro, go ahead.
Yeah. I don't understand why, you know what I'm saying, folks don't see exactly what I believe Bernie, if Bernie want to be known as a father and a true black man, I believe that's what Bernie wanted everybody to understand about him. Now, to back up my first point of him being wanting to be a father, you know what I'm saying, making sure that there's role models for, you know what I'm saying, the young ones coming up so they have some type of stable ground, is that he told, you know what I'm saying, in one of his jokes, but he tells true stories. And he told him this joke about his sister, about how she was jacked up. And he said, y'all got him in y'all family too. And everybody broke out laughing. He said the thing about it was they was at the court people, which means they was about to take this woman's kids and send them into the system. You don't know where they're going to be at. They can get sent in any place because it's called foster care. I know about it personally.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Right.
Max said, yeah, I can't have that. So he took in his niece and nephew. They're not his sole responsibility, but they're his family. And on that, he said, that's why I'm doing it. So for this man to take on this role, which shows also women out this way, in a sense, he was becoming a stepfather to them. The man role is because there's a girl that needs to understand how it is living up under a man's rule and understand how things go, as well as a son living up under a man's rule, understanding how things go. Now you got balanced people coming out onto the planet. So these are why the shows are being taken off the air for the most part. These are why the shows, you know what I'm saying, are not talked about like they used to. Except for Mark, because it's a standout funny comedy. But yet they still don't want to, you know what I'm saying, look at the fact they were a couple. So I just need everybody that's in attendance, check out the screen, burn these images into your mind, because that's the model. And without that model, we don't have no unity.
Break it up real hard.
Maybe the rain down this way.
Too much of that, bro. Shit. God damn. I hope this damn. Hold on a second, bro, because I'm trying to hear you out. I couldn't even hear you because it's chopping up so bad. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it might be weather down this way. Doom, doom.
Bro, you there? You there, bro?
I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I don't. Yeah. It had to jump off and I had to come back in. But yeah, you were chopping up. I couldn't hardly catch what you were saying. But
okay, what's the last part did you hear that was clear?
When you were talking about I just got the part what you were talking about Bernie Mac. knowing the situation as a father, as far as the what you call that foster care situation.
Okay. All right. So Bernie's niece and nephew was going to go into foster care. And he told the judge he couldn't have it because he didn't want to see them split up. So he took them in. Now, the thing is, Bernie's taking on now a stepfather role, which shows you it doesn't matter. A male needs to be in there with you that's connected to you and to them to make sure that they come out stable. Because as a little girl was living up under his roof, she's starting to understand what it means to be a woman growing up in a house with a man. Same for the son that was in there, seeing what it is to grow up in the house as a man. And if you don't have these pictures and these images in your head growing up, you ain't gonna know what to put out on the planet. It's gonna be, well, okay, we're gonna group together, and it's a bunch of people grouped together, got a similar experience, which means we don't have that experience. And that's what's running. I'm gonna yield back.
Yeah, that's the thing. Cause see, like I said, he had got the whole concept. They literally listened to what Bernie Mac had to say as far as their show is concerned. And I know they probably kind of fucked them up, but they were like, as long as comedy wrapped around it, they don't really give a fuck no way. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, he was still throwing them Jews out there. He was throwing them goddamn messages out there left and right. I'm not gonna respect a man on that level. But at the same time, they really didn't too much dig Bernie Mac because Bernie Mac was an alpha male. And they don't like alpha males. And that's the reason why they gave him some kind of setbacks on that show as well. To the point where shit started getting deeper and deeper down into the situation where it ended up his death in 2007. I think, was it 2008 when he died? Yeah, 2008 when he died.
Yeah.
But God rest his dead, brother. I got a chance to meet him in person. You know what I'm saying? Didn't even know that was really him until I walked up on him. He was getting on the flight from Los Angeles to Chicago. I was getting on the flight from Los Angeles to Dallas Fort Worth in 1996. And I couldn't believe it. I said, I seen him before. And I knew I seen him on Def Comedy Jam. And I was like, that's the same. That look like that comedian dude. Bernie Mac, I think is his name. And I kept looking at him. And I said, it is him and his wife. Because he's got a beautiful wife. You know what I'm saying? And he just said, what's happening, bro? I said, what's going on? He was getting, then when I look up, I knew it was him then because, on them flights, when you're a celebrity like that, they usually let you get on the flight, if you first class, they let you get on the plane first. Before they start boarding the regular passengers. So they went ahead and took him on back into the plane. And I was like, okay, yeah. I said, yeah, it is. That was him. You know what I'm saying? And him and his wife, they got on the plane, and everybody that was going to get on the plane from Chicago, they couldn't board yet. They had to wait until he got boarded, and then that's when they, him and folks that were riding first class got boarded. Then he got on. Then they started boarding Chicago folks. Then I had to wait on my flight, and I started waiting, getting boarded on my flight, getting ready to come back down south. I mean, that shit like it was yesterday. Anyway, my wife and kids, I never watched that TV show, but hey, I'm lying. I did watch that show a couple of times, not as much. It was pretty good. It was pretty funny. Dave Wayne's he's a funny guy. He's about the only straight up comedy guy, comedian, actor that I know out of all the Wayne brothers. The only one I freaking was really cool. The rest of the motherfuckers, I ain't too much. I thought they was just a waste of space. And they ain't no deal. That's some real shit. But anyway, I'm gonna move off those TV shows, man. Only thing I can say, they literally took those shows, a lot of those shows, and they came out to be good and bad at the same time. Because they were miswritten by white writers that didn't know nothing about the urban hoods and whatnot. They didn't know nothing about black life. And it's not being racist, that's being realist. Because the thing is, they didn't have no black writers for none of those TV shows, Seinfeld, Cheers, and Friends. So my thing is, why the hell would y'all want to have some Caucasian writers for black shows and don't know nothing about black folks like that, black folks lifestyle like that? Even to the point where they did on Good Time, they making up gangs and shit. Had the gangs looking like motorcycle riders and shit. All right, what the fuck?
Gangs.
I understand. Yeah. What they had?
I remember the Warriors. No, not the Warriors.
Yeah.
What was it?
Satan Warlords or some shit like that.
Yeah, Warlords. That's what it was.
They should just went ahead and call them Vice Lords. They were gonna be all that.
I think that was a playoff of it.
Because Vice Lords.
I think that was a playoff of it.
Yeah, but could have. Might as well.
Because you already know they can't say the real thing, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't have no ownership of it. So it'll be something similar. Like, let me give you an example. We remember we watching the movie, matter of fact, which is, you know what I'm saying, Connection, you know what I'm saying, with the Wayans brother. Damon did a movie called Bamboozle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Y'all remember that?
He mentioned a few lines in that about that same topic on that standpoint. And so our people got to wake up, bro. Our people, they're just plain and simple. Our people really need to wake up.
Yeah.
I got to get back to what I was talking to you about earlier about the situation down in Louisiana about the 25-year-old mother of 6 getting blown away by a 30-year-old mother of 9. Both women are gone, people. One's going to the grave, the other's going to the penitentiary for life. So these 15 kids, because they didn't have an environment of where they're supposed to be and how they need to be acting in society, they got a very high chance these 15 won't be around long.
Bro, you know what I'm gonna do? Stay put. We gonna step off and I'm come back in, but I'm gonna face some block the screen right quick because I need to straighten this kind of fucking with you talking. Cause it's like
come on, let's go with it. Let's get situated here. All right. I guess I got the show to myself right now. So we'll talk a little bit. I hope y'all got y'all CDs going in the bank. That's going to make you a little money right now before this thing crashes out. That's one of the things you need to have going. Another thing you need to have going is life insurance, whole life insurance at that. This is the life insurance that has a cash value also along with it. Something you can pull from while you're living and you can use. That also can get you, you know what I'm saying, your money up. So those two things right there. Third thing is something of your choosing that is recession proof. So sit down, get yourself in the corner, get quiet, and think long and hard. You know what I'm saying? That's something that's recession proof. So you have 3 ways you're making your money. Because if you don't, party.
bro, hold on. Let's see. Shit. Ladies and gentlemen, y'all hold on just a second. I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna come back in. It's gonna take a second, but I'm gonna play some music and I'll be right back. Hold on just a second. All right. All right. Let's try this shit again. All right. We back. All right. I had to go out and come back on in, bro. Shit.
Yeah, me too.
I guess we good now. Huh?
I had to.
Yeah, we good now. I'm about to give me a goddamn a private secretary to go in and help you with the audio and shit on help you with the help us with the podcast, bro.
Oh yeah.
Like they do at the real studio. Like
Who
we do at the
you,
real
okay.
studio.
Okay, well, who you got?
Let's hate their ass. All right. Hell no. We're gonna leave that. We're gonna leave G. Anyway, I think I'm gonna try to leave the camera off, see if that'll do it a little bit better. Cause I think I'm probably draining too much foul because I guess the internet kind of dry over here in this area that I'm in. But bro, I was gonna I guess we're gonna only leave the TV shows alone and go in on some shit that I was looking at yesterday and today. It's still gonna be on the same subject matter about the good and the bad of black entertainment of our culture. But I seen a story on the late great Marvin Gaye. What do you know about the brother? You know that you can remember.
That's Teddy.
You go now.
Say that's Teddy.
Oh damn, that's the wrong picture. I'm sorry. Here you go. I grabbed the wrong one. Oh, there you go. Yeah. What do you know about this, bro?
I was young when he passed, so I didn't know much. I was only 5.
I was young.
He died in 81, right?
You said no, he died in 84. Oh, April Fool's Day.
Was it 84 or 81?
84. 1984, April 1st, 1984.
Okay, I was 8. No, I ain't know much about it. I was in Michael Jackson's time frame.
Yeah. I didn't know very much about him when I was young myself, but I know that, you know what I'm saying, he was basically what R. Kelly is today.
Yep.
You know, but the thing is, Marvin Gaye's whole concept back then, he literally had he had rivals because it was him and Teddy Pendergrass. You know what I'm saying? He was also doing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and then you had I think it was him. Then you had, you know, you had quite a few R&B acts and like Bobby Womack. You know what I'm saying? That they talk about exposing the industry on what happened to him, what really happened to him. And I'm because that was a damn good documentary on, and I think I saved it in my download file. But because I want to talk about him and I want to talk about Teddy P. Because that was another one that lost his life. You know, that got fucked up in his career as well.
Yeah.
But a little bit different. Okay, yeah, I got it right here. Let's see there. Let us look at it. Check it out. Okay, yeah, it's playing. Of course, it's gonna play because download it.
If I'm sad, I write sad music. If I'm being divorced, I divorce, Al. If I'm dead, I pretend music. If I'm being divorced, I write divorce, Al.
When Midnight Love's Sexual Healing hit the airwaves in October of 1982, many saw it as Marvin Gaye's mighty comeback, a golden opportunity for him to get back to the top of the world where he once was.
Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye.
But little did they know that barely 17 months later, Marvin would be no more, having been shot not by anyone, but by his father, and not by any other gun, but one which Marvin had bought for him as a Christmas gift to protect the family from intruders.
Soul singer Marvin Gaye, whose career spanned over 25 years, including the birth of the Motown sound to the 80s, was shot to death yesterday in Los Angeles.
Coming just today to his 45th birthday, Marvin Gaye's death came as a shocker to his fans and friends, who found it hard to come to terms to the news, even at one point believing it to be a hoax, having fallen on April Fool's Day of 1984.
It was April Fool's Day. So people didn't want to believe it. It was such an insane idea that Marvin Gaye's been shot by his father. There's no way.
Blame games filled the air, with many throwing tantrums at Marvin's father for pulling the trigger. But as unreal and unbelievable as it sounds, there's more than meets the eye.
Now buckle up, bro. This shit gonna get deep.
I love to walk from my friend.
Marvin Gaye was an extraordinary talent with a wide vocal range that spanned a piercing falsetto, a smooth mid-range tenor, and a deep gospel growl. Beyond his singing abilities, he was a groundbreaking composer and producer who played a pivotal role in the artist-controlled music movement of the 70s. His style also set him apart. From the sharp, clean-cut Motown suits of the 60s to the more relaxed, funky attire of the 1970s, Gaye consistently captured attention. One article even labeled him the granddaddy of the American heritage look. His soft-spoken, down-to-earth demeanor, coupled with undeniable charisma, added layers to his public persona. But with every high, there is a low. With every special blessing comes a curse. Behind the scenes, Marvin's personal life was marked by turmoil, culminating in a tragic and shocking end. The circumstances leading to his untimely death left many questioning the official explanations. Was the official death story just a script to cover up the true cause? Was it really a matter of a father killing his successful son out of jealousy? Was it a matter of self-defense? Was it a matter of a disturbed son at the end of the rope, and his only way out was to pass down his guilt and frustrations to his father, whose approval he never got? Or was it a move by the industry aimed at heavily profiting from his demise? To crack this case open, to find answers, we need to go back, way back to the beginning of time, and pick all the clues left behind, solving all the puzzles along the way logically and without bias. But before we do so, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and like the video to enable it reach a greater audience and help our family grow. We don't take your overwhelming support for granted. From the ugly to the funny to the raw scenes, this is the untold story of Marvin Pence Gaye Jr., the Prince of Soul. On the 1st of October 1914, in a farm along Catnip Hill Pike in Jessamine County, Kentucky, Marvin Pence Gaye Sr. was born as the third of 15 children of parents George and Mamie Gaye. His middle name, Pence, was given to him in honor of the doctor that helped deliver him. His parents were sharecroppers who struggled to provide for their large family, eventually moving to Lexington around 1919 in search of better opportunities. On top of the dire poverty, Marvin Sr. and his siblings also experienced a challenging childhood marked by his father's physical abuse. According to David Ritz's book, Divided Soul, The Life of Marvin Gaye, it is alleged that the violence was often directed at his wife and children, particularly after he discovered that 5 of his children were not straight. While in Lexington, to avoid the chaos, Mama Mamie sought comfort in religion, joining the House of God, a Seventh-day Pentecostal church. Marvin Sr. followed his mother into faith, becoming an ardent believer and eventually feeling called to preach. His fervor and special gift were soon recognized by church leaders, who included him in evangelist groups to spread their faith further. In September 1934, Marvin Sr. moved to Washington, D.C. to be ordained as a bishop at the church's annual convocation, with his close friend Bishop Simon Rawlings appointed as his assistant. It was during this period that Marvin Sr. and Simon encountered Alberta Cooper, a captivating woman who caught both their attentions. To resolve their mutual interest amicably, they let Alberta choose between them. Marvin Sr.'s charm won her over, and after a period of courtship, they married on July 2nd, 1935, and settled in a small house in the southeastern part of the city. It, however, didn't take a long time for the two to have their first disagreement. See, Alberta, born in 1913 in Rocky Mountain, North Carolina, just like Marvin Sr., had also endured a difficult childhood under the hands of her father, who at one time even went to the extent of shooting her mother during an argument. In fact, Alberta didn't start school till she was 8. And even though her father would later die in a psychiatric hospital, the damage on her was already done, and fear is what became her middle name. Shortly before she met Marvin Sr., Alberta had become pregnant, and fearing her father's wrath, her mother sent her to stay with a relative in Washington, D.C. after she gave birth to her son, Michael. This child was the reason behind the couple's disagreement. Marvin Sr., staunch in his beliefs, refused to raise another man's child. To prevent further conflict, Alberta sent Michael to live with her sister. Michael would only discover the truth about his biological mother in his teenage years. On December 17, 1936, the couple welcomed their first child, a daughter named Jean Mabel. As a tradition back then, it was the norm for a son to take over his father's legacy, and Marvin Sr. was no exception. He really fancied having one to pass down the family's legacy. So when the couple got one on April 2nd, 1939, he was the happiest man and a proud father. He named the kid Marvin Pence Gay Jr., just as he had wanted. In his heart, he felt his son was destined for greatness. The couple later had 2 more children, Frankie and Zayla. Marvin Sr. had a clear mission for his son, Marvin Jr., to follow in his footsteps as a singer and preacher, upholding what he considered God's will. With church services originally held at their home, Marvin Sr. kept his son close, nurturing their bond and preparing him in every way possible. On top of being gifted in delivering sermons, Marvin Sr. also had a good singing voice and was a proficient self-taught pianist, skills he ensured he taught a young Marvin in the numerous father-son sessions. A young Marvin admired his father's roles and was eager to emulate them, feeling a divine call to do so. At age 4, Marvin Sr. introduced him to the congregation, where Marvin Jr. sang as he accompanied him on piano. Everyone loved him, from the church members to his mother, except for one person, his father. He wanted him to do more. Back then, in many traditional Black families, fathers often withheld overt praise more so to their sons, believing that understatement or critical feedback motivated better performance and resilience. They expressed pride indirectly, often through high expectations or by emphasizing the potential for improvement. "You can do better than this," was what many of us live by. As to our fathers, it was a way to keep us on toes and not let our guards down by letting the praise get into our heads. It worked for some, but for the others, especially whose parents never spoke in one voice, failed terribly. This was the case for young Marvin. His father's lack of visible approval was challenging, as it set a bar that seemed impossibly high for a boy his age, overshadowing the encouragement he received from his mother and the rest. Initially, Marvin Jr.'s growing popularity in church was seen positively by his father, Marvin Sr., as it rejuvenated the congregation. However, tensions arose when Marvin Sr. noticed that the congregation was more enthusiastic and excited about his son's singing than his own sermons. This marked the genesis of a lifelong feud, fueled by Marvin Sr.'s self-centered nature and desire to be the focal point of admiration. He began to see his son as a competitor. With this, his wife Alberta turned most of her attention to Marvin Jr. in a bid to encourage him in his special gift of singing, neglecting his husband's needs in the process. Feeling sidelined, Marvin Sr. developed feelings of jealousy towards his son. For the records, this wasn't the only reason she silently hated his husband. She described her husband as lazy. He never wanted to work to provide for his family and would come up with all sorts of excuses to not work. At one point, he worked at a post office in...
Bro, what you come up with?
I know the white man starting allowing his back end of things. I do know that, though.
You
That's
know,
very apparent.
that's what makes this podcast just what it is. Because I got to get on the horn. Because the thing is, the dialogue itself sounds kind of shady because just like they did with Ike Turner. How you going to take your son? You want the best for your kids, you want the best for your son, but at the same time, you start hating him out of nowhere. That shit don't even make no sense. But according to them, it makes perfect sense because, like, I went back to the whole concept of that TV show, Good Time. They don't never want to see a black or a father's excellence in his child or his wife's life. We always seen that the boogeyman.
Jumped to the idea of retiring early after he developed a minor back issue. With insufficient church offerings to support the family, Alberta was compelled to work as a domestic worker around town, a role she silently resented. Marvin Sr.'s strict parenting approach is also something that his wife didn't subscribe to. As a bishop, he ruled by the scriptures and was heated as a good plan, but problem laid on the lengths he went when disciplining the kids. One of them was when he was testing their knowledge on their Bible verses. Any small misquote and ignorance resulted into a proper beating. Another issue was that the kids had a problem with wetting their beds, more so a young Marvin. No mercy was shown here too. Beating wasn't the only thing that the kids considered a nightmare. Marvin Sr. also played psychological games with them. He would at times delay the beating, pass by their rooms devilishly beating the belt against the walls to increase the tension, something that tortured the kids more than even the beating itself. The people who were housed by the family over the years too added salt to the wound. At one time they housed Marvin Gaye's aunt, who during their usual beating, together with the mother, went to the extent of kneeling to plead with the father to stop beating the kids, efforts that fell on deaf ears. Michael, Marvin's elder half-brother, in one of his visits, once encouraged young Marvin to resist their father's tyranny. When Marvin Sr. discovered Michael's influence, he banished him from the house again, deepening the family's divisions and in a home where violence and psychological manipulation were alarmingly routine. Over time, the affection Marvin Jr. once felt for his father dwindled, transforming into resentment. Efforts to win his father's approval went unnoticed, while his missteps were met with swift punishment. Feeling unloved, Marvin began to mirror the animosity he perceived from his father. Marvin's encounters outside the household also widened his rift with his father. He had attended Syphax Elementary School before proceeding to Randall Junior High School, where his nightmares continued. The Gay family's unique practices, such as attending church on Saturdays and not Sundays like the rest, coupled by abstaining from celebrating Christmas, made them weird in their neighbors' eyes, and the kids had trouble making friends. Their last name, Gay, was also something that made a young Marvin an easy target in school for bullies. Further complicating matters, Marvin's father wore clothing typically associated with women and had a gentle demeanor, prompting classmates to mock Marvin for having a sissy father. These humiliations at school, largely ignored by his father, intensified Marvin's feelings of resentment. To cope, Marvin leaned into his musical talents, joining the Randall Junior High Glee Club, where his singing prowess gained him popularity, particularly among girls, and introduced him to doo-wop groups, fostering friendships. Additionally, Marvin took up boxing to defend himself, although he often chose flight over fight when confronted by bullies. As a teenager, Marvin's rebellion escalated in a bid for his father's attention. He would deliberately miss church on Saturdays, enduring beatings as a consequence, while his siblings complied with their father's strict rules to avoid.
I gotta go get a light right quick because this dude is spitting number garbage.
Lies sat around this dinner table here tonight, but that you can't believe.
Yeah, I told you. All concepts gonna get funny and real, and real silly is a motherfucker. But that's how it is.
Arizona State University to the Midwest at Indiana University.
Yeah, I see you had a troll on here. I didn't delete that shit. I ain't gonna even show it on the screen. I don't even care. Only thing you can do to help me is stay off my damn channel. We good over here.
Go ahead. Yeah, this white guy lying off his ass. And once again, making the black man out to be a demon in the household.
Why you say that, bro?
You heard him say it. That's all he said. He fashioned the whole thing out. Some demon in the house just terrorizing, brutalizing everybody. And from what he said, that sounds like what happened in White House. At another point, he said he was Seventh-day Adventist. I know that personally. I grew up in that faith. There are no bishops in Adventist faith. Bishops are in the Catholic faith, and only there. What the hell are you talking about? Yeah, he spent a bunch of lies on that. I hate that.
That's like they did like Joe Jackson.
I hate that. It's the same story.
Well, you already. Yeah, I mean, all this shit links up with all these different entertainers' concepts, man.
And then
I mean, that sounds like some shit like how they did Michael Jackson and Joe Jackson.
Now, the fella said at the beginning of the tape.
Like Ike Turner.
Yeah. Now, the fella said at the beginning of the tape that he had some reasons on why, you know what I'm saying, he passed. One of those reasons was he said the industry can make a lot of money. He ain't say nothing about that, but what he's been hyping up, that it's been the animosity between the father and son. That's what he's been hyping up, and that's a damn lie. So we know what's going on, and to back this up, if y'all know who Called Me Kinfolk is on YouTube, he's already did a rundown on the numbers on the late Marvin Gaye's death. Now, and then another point. Back when Marvin coming up, think about gay was not meaning gay. They either called you a fag, a sissy, or a punk. Gay was still having his original definition, a happy state, but we didn't use it in our community. We didn't say we were feeling gay. We said we feeling happy, or I'm feeling good, I'm feeling all right. So that's another thing, because that didn't come along until the 80s. A lot of lies at that dinner table with this white man been spewing out. And the thing is, he's doing a documentary on ours. So people, when you checking out our people about them, go get their autobiography. Either they wrote it or somebody in their family that was close, or a close friend of the family that was okayed by the family wrote it. Now you got some mad. Because the white man talking in the background about our society, yeah, you're lying, thinking, okay, yeah. Because for a while, watching the Tina Turner situation, it being narrated by white America, not understanding, but just seeing black faces on the screen. You get caught up in the drama and trauma. Next thing you know, you're pointing fingers. And you feel justified about it. Till you find out it was a damn lie. Then you feel stupid as hell. So then you say to yourself, from here on out, I got to have a man. I got to have a man, so I won't look like a fool. Straight like that.
Yeah. I mean, this thing like how they ruined Ike Turner's life, you know, and all they do was they took a woman that literally did love herself off the street and made her a singer, then get her. Okay, he glorified a whole lot, and he didn't make no money off that name. She the one that made the money off the damn name. Her and the damn Jewish guy, Niall Davis dude. Until he got tired of her ass and couldn't make no money off her no more. Let's move on with this video.
Punishment. Marvin's defiance led his father to doubt their familial connection, further straining their already fraught relationship. Nevertheless, Marvin graduated from junior high in 1954 and briefly attended Spingarn High School before transferring to Cardozo High School, where his passion for music deepened. At Cardozo, his doo-wop group from Randall, which included the likes of Reese Palmer, expanded and was renamed the DC Tones. During this period, Marvin transitioned from singing solely spiritual music to other genres, a shift his father remained unaware of. Marvin hoped his father would appreciate the lyrics regardless of the genre, but he was mistaken. Anything that didn't involve praising God was a no for him. As his musical talents brought him attention and admiration, particularly from female classmates, Marvin's focus on his studies waned, resulting in poor grades that further strained his relationship with his father. Disapproving of Marvin's musical direction, his father saw Marvin's faltering academic performance as a sign of his misguided priorities. Seeking an escape from his father's harsh oversight, Marvin saw enlistment in the Air Force as his chance for freedom. Despite his father's skepticism about his suitability for military life, Marvin joined, dropping out of school in the 11th grade. Turns out his father was right. The strict discipline of military life mirrored the constraints he hoped to escape. Frustrated by the rigidity, like always attending classes, and the tiring manual tasks like peeling potatoes, Marvin was not ready for the hardships. He wanted out. His rebellious nature resurfaced while there. He engaged in various acts of defiance, hoping to be discharged. When these efforts failed, he feigned a nervous breakdown and disobeyed orders, even avoiding visits to a military psychiatrist. His actions eventually convinced his superiors that he was unfit for service. After just 8 months, Marvin was discharged, much to his relief, ending his brief and tumultuous stint in the Air Force.
I did a horrible stint in the Air Force. It was terrible. I got an honorable discharge under general conditions in Section 214.
His time at the Air Force also did what he termed as initiation into manhood. He lost his virginity, thanks to one of the harlots that were around the base, quenching his thirst for one of his desires. What he didn't know was that the experience, which he labeled as freaky, marked the beginning of his lifelong obsession in the world of sensuality. Returning home, he was met with his father's disapproving gaze, which only fueled his already heightened rebellious spirit and bruised his little ego. To escape his father's relentless criticism, Marvin moved out and lived with friends from his singing days back in school. He and his friend Reese Palmer briefly worked at a food warehouse to make ends meet, but were soon dismissed. This setback reignited Marvin's passion for music, leading him and Palmer, along with Chester Simmons from the Rainbows and James Nolan, to form the Marquis. Their talent quickly landed them gigs in clubs and on television, and they even collaborated with prominent names like guitarist Bo Diddley and Billy Stewart at OK Records, producing singles like Hey Little Schoolgirl and Wyatt Earp in 1957. Despite their efforts, the Marquis...
I'm gonna move a little further on to the screen, to the video. I want to get down to the part where he getting up at Motown. Hold on just a second. I think this is it right here.
That'll work because he lined his ass off already. He just building up against his dad.
Following successes included Hitchhike, reaching number 30 in Pride and Joy, his first top 10 hit after its release in 1963, both featured on his album That Stubborn Kind of Fella. Inspired by his deep affection for Anna Gordy, who pushed him up the Motown Tamla ranks, these songs reflected his evolving artistry. Their marriage also happened during this time, bringing together a talented Marvin and a sound business sense in Anna. In September 1963, Marvin's release of Can I Get a Witness by Holland Dozier Holland marked his breakout on the international scene, introducing him to the world in style. It's Marvin Gaye's rising star aligned with Mary Wells, another fast-rising Motown talent, leading Berry Gordy to pair them for a duet album in an attempt to boost each other's profiles. Their album together climbed to number 42 on the pop chart, with hits like Once Upon a Time and What's the Matter with You Baby, each breaking into the top 20. Despite this success, Gaye continued to pursue ballads, releasing albums filled with covers like I'll Be Around and show tunes such as People and Hello Dolly, which were less commercially successful compared to his R&B hits. Eventually, Gaye embraced the R&B genre that suited him best. His album, How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, crafted by Holland Dozier Holland, soared to number 6 on the Hot 100 and gained UK recognition. His television appearances, including on American Bandstand and in the concert film The Tammy Show, boosted his profile further. In 1965, Gaye topped the R&B charts with I'll Be Doggone and Ain't That Peculiar, both becoming million sellers.
Right there.
Gaye once again revisited jazz ballads in a tribute to the late Nat King Cole. The tribute album greatly underperformed, fueling his frustration, blaming Motown for not marketing it, and grew jealous of the amount of success other acts like the Supremes and Stevie Wonder were having during this time. This frustration led to tensions seeping into his home life, where his marriage to Anna Gordy became increasingly strained and was reportedly turbulent, including public spats. Anna was feeling threatened by the attention Marvin received from young women during tours, and her inability to conceive a child made her worried about the direction of their marriage. And even though she did everything to make Marvin happy, having that wild character in bed being one of them, the void of not conceiving a child couldn't be filled. In a controversial move, Anna orchestrated a plan involving her niece, Denise Gordy, as a surrogate.
Know where they're from, though. Bro?
Yeah, I've seen it. I didn't read about this before.
Sound like Miss Gordy was a little unhealthy, wasn't taking care of herself. And we gonna see what Marvin Gaye, Brother Gaye, had to do to basically redeem himself as being a father that he always wanted to be. So show you what he gonna do. Check it out.
To maintain appearances, Anna feigned pregnancy. On November 17, 1965, Marvin Pence Gaye III was born and was immediately adopted by them. Back to music, to soothe Marvin Gaye during this period, Motown paired him with Kim Weston, resulting in the 1966 album Take Two. Their hit single It Takes Two climbed to number 16 in the UK, top 20 by January 1967, and became a radio favorite. However, Weston departed from Motown in 1967 following her husband, Mickey Stevenson's opportunity to lead his own label with MGM in Los Angeles. She was replaced by Tammy Terrell, whose vibrant personality meshed well with Marvin's reserved nature. Their collaboration proved magical, producing top hits like Ain't No Mountain High Enough and Your Precious Love
The fun fact on this, Tammy Terrell had relations with James Brown and David Ruffin around that time. And they considered that she got abused by both guys, James Brown and David Ruffin. But they said David Ruffin was the roughest one on her out of James Brown.
1967, and Ain't Nothing Like the Real Thing, and You're All I Need to Get By in 1968, dominating R&B charts. It was no doubt the Terrell-Gaye chemistry produced some of the most memorable love songs of the Motown era, and the aura of romance that the two created in their songs led to persistent rumors that they were lovers. They would be voted the #1 R&B duo in Cashbox magazine's annual year-end survey in 1970. Though the partnership was creatively and professionally successful, the duo faced challenges from the start. On October 14, 1967, while performing on stage, Tammy Terrell collapsed into Marvin's arms due to a brain tumor after suffering from severe migraine headaches for a while. This marked the beginning of her health struggles, which eventually halted their performances together.
Now listen to this, bro.
Devastated, Gaye grew increasingly disenchanted with the music industry. Looking for a distraction from this, on October 6, 1968, Gaye had the rare opportunity to sing the national anthem during Game 4 of the 1968 World Series, held at Tiger Stadium in Detroit, Michigan, between the Detroit Tigers and the St. Louis Cardinals. In late 1968, Gaye's recording of I Heard It Through the Grapevine became his first to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, selling over 4 million copies. Despite the acclaim, Gaye battled feelings of being controlled by others. He felt like a puppet, Barry's puppet, Anna's puppet. He, however, continued to produce hits like Too Busy Thinking About My Baby, and managed his first #1 R&B album with MPG in 1969. Additionally, he contributed significantly to the originals, helping craft hits like Baby I'm For Real and The Bells. On March 16, 1970, Marvin Gaye was devastated by the death of his duet partner, Tammy Terrell, who succumbed to brain cancer. Her family blamed Motown for not protecting her from abuse in the hands of her then-boyfriend, David Ruffin, which they believed worsened her condition. As a result, Marvin, who they regarded as her only true friend, was the only person from the whole of Motown they allowed to attend the funeral. Tammy's death had Marvin spiral into depression and substance abuse. This period also coincided with his personal struggles, from his marriage to his struggle for artistic independence from Motown's stringent control, which limited his creative expression to primarily love songs. Discontent with this and influenced by conversations with his brother about the Vietnam War, Marvin embarked on a deeper exploration of social themes in his music. This introspection.
Now this is when, see, the thing is, Marvin Gaye was already feeling some kind of way about the industry, and he started getting really deep into being conscious. That's when you can notice his music change from being how he was so happy and jibber in the 60s, but in the early part of the 70s, his whole genre of thought process changed. Now check this out.
And led to the creation of the groundbreaking album, What's Going On? Initially sparked by an act of police brutality witnessed by Four Tops member Ronaldo Obi Benson. Even though Motown head Berry Gordy's had reservations about the album's controversial content and potential impact on...
That look right there says it all, bro. Because it's like Berry Gordy like telling him, you know, Marvin, you were doing good when you were singing to, you know, doing duet with Tammy Terrell, and you were singing, you know, about love and happiness. Now you're trying to go all into this political activist type of shit, and that's not gonna be a good look for me. And Marvin Gaye looking at this nigga like, are you serious?
Yeah, he got that.
Marvin's
Yeah,
mainstream appeal. The title track was released in 1971. It soared to #1 on the Billboard R&B charts, staying there for 5 weeks, and achieved significant pop chart success, selling over 2 million copies. The album, Marvin's first to sell 1 million copies, also produced other top 10 hits like Mercy Mercy Me, The Ecology, and Inner City Blues. Meanwhile, Marvin dabbled in acting and even flirted with a professional football career with the Detroit Lions, which did not materialize due to concerns over potential injuries. Following the commercial success of the What's Going On album, Marvin Gaye secured a historic $1 million recording contract with Motown in 1971, making him the highest-earning black singer at the time. He followed up with the Trouble Man soundtrack in 1972, and then moved to Los Angeles along with his family as Motown relocated its headquarters. In 1973, amid personal challenges, Marvin filed for legal separation from Anna Gordy. Struggling with writer's block and personal issues during this period, he channeled his energy into creating music that reflected his inner turmoil. He partnered with Ed Townsend on working on Let's Get It On.
Not again. The one.
in 1975. In collaboration with Diana Ross, Marvin released the duet album Diana and Marvin, which achieved international success. This was followed by extensive touring and the release of I Want You in 1976, which also went on to sell over 1 million copies. The renewed contract with Motown allowed Gaye to also build his own custom-made
Ah, shit. Goddamn Dark Prince and jumped off. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all watching, damn internet kept kicking me off. I guess I know the signal over here is kind of choppy, but let's see. I get brother come back on. I know you wanted to see this. Anyway, let's keep going.
Recording studio. Marvin's creative output continued to flourish with the release of Live at the London Palladium in 1977, which featured the hit Got to Give It Up. His success enabled him to open Radio City Music Hall's New York Pop Arts Festival, September of that year too. Every time Marvin seemed to be making 2 steps forward, his personal issues always seemed to be taking him 1 step back. His failure to sort out his personal issues always seemed to catch up with him. To begin with, he was known for his generosity, often employing homeless individuals and leaving $50 tips for waitresses. He purchased a neo-Tudor mansion for his parents in Los Angeles' Crenshaw district, gifted his father a new Cadillac. His financial generosity extended to a point of personal financial strain. In November 1975, Anna Gordy filed for divorce, initiating a prolonged and contentious legal battle that culminated in a settlement in May 1977. The court mandated Gaye to pay $5,500 monthly for Anna and their adopted son's maintenance. Despite his numerous assets, including a 5-acre estate, a Jamaican beach property, 14 cars, a yacht, a speedboat, and a share in the New Orleans Jazz NBA franchise, Gaye struggled with the first payment. Additionally, he faced lawsuits from musicians for unpaid wages and a former manager claiming $2 million in unpaid dues, alongside the U.S. government pursuing him for back taxes. Gaye had constructed a lavish recording studio on Sunset Boulevard, equipped with a huge hot tub and an oversized waterbed. But financial woes led to a government lockout of the studio. His 1978 album, Here My Dear, intended to address financial demands from his divorce with Anna, flopped, pushing him toward bankruptcy. His relationship with Janice Hunter also deteriorated. Marvin had, in his fantasies, coerced Janice into having sexual relationships with other men. During their problems, Janice hooked up with Teddy Pendergrass and Rick James, Marvin's greatest rivals at the time. Janice, fed up with all these, pushed for divorce. Struggling with a cocaine addiction and financial ruin, Gaye spent 9 months as a beach bum in Hawaii, desperately seeking financial help from friends and family, including selling his mother's jewelry for drug money. To alleviate his financial woes, Marvin Gaye embarked on a European tour. Facing 2 divorces, unresolved IRS tax issues, and a slew of demanding creditors, he chose to remain in Europe post-tour, effectively going into exile.
You owe the government $4 million. I forgot to tell you that. I just want everybody to know why I got the heck out of Dodge.
During this period, estranged from Janice, Gaye began a relationship with Eugenie Viss, whom he met after a concert in Amsterdam. He engaged in emotionally cold behavior, pushing her into group sex activities and then condemning her participation. Janice finalized their divorce in February 1981. While abroad, Motown released Gaye's unfinished album, In Our Lifetime, without his consent, sparking his fury and ending their 2-decade partnership. Gaye vowed never to record for Motown again, and in 1982, Motown sold his contract to CBS Records. While in Belgium, hiding from the IRS and creditors, Marvin Gaye had a revealing conversation with a concerned friend who was disturbed by the pornographic material in Gaye's living space. The friend suggested Gaye needed some sexual healing and possibly counseling to help redirect his life. Although the advice went largely unheeded, it inspired Gaye to write one of his most famous songs. CBS Records quickly released Sexual Healing as a single, capitalizing on Gaye's European exposure, and included it on the Rush album Midnight Love. The track became the biggest-selling soul single in years, earning Gaye 2 Grammy Awards for Best R&B Male Vocal Performance and Best R&B Instrumental.
Sexual Healing by Marvin Gaye.
The success of Sexual Healing led CBS to promote a tour from April to August 1983. Gaye, whose primary sources of income were touring and record royalties, was not expected to handle the tour well due to his erratic behavior and dislike for touring, exacerbated by the physical demands and his struggles during downtime from his drug use. Paranoid, Gaye believed a hitman was targeting him, wore a bulletproof vest constantly, and surrounded himself with bodyguards. At one point, he even hired the celebrity lawyer F. Lee Bailey to try to discover who was attempting to take him out. After the tour ended, Gaye returned to the U.S. to care for his mother following her kidney surgery, moving into the house he had purchased for his parents in 1973. Just like old times, the father-son wrangles didn't take long before they resurfaced. Marvin's addiction problems diverted all the attentions towards him, leaving his father facing neglect. Also, the house was in some way always chaotic due to the high number of Marvin's friends making frequent visits. With this, the two men struggled to keep their distance from one another and always had numerous quarrels. It is said that during one quarrel at the house, the elder Gaye called police to have his son leave the property, which he had to oblige. After staying with one of his sisters for a while, however, Marvin returned to the property, stating to a friend of his that he wanted to make peace with his father. But with neither of them willing to lower their ego, this was going to be an uphill task.
Father, which art in heaven.
On Christmas Day 1983, amid his struggle with cocaine addiction and deep paranoia about being murdered, Marvin Gaye gifted his father a pistol for protection and as a sign to show that he cared. This gift was kept by Marvin Sr., who felt it provided a sense of security. As 1984 began, Marvin's addictions intensified and his mental state deteriorated due to drug-induced paranoia. His sensual perversion, too, completely destroyed his mind and was reported to have doubled his watching of pornographic material. The tension at home escalated, particularly as Marvin Sr. grew uncomfortable with the frequent presence of Marvin's unpredictable visitors. Marvin Sr. feared these disruptions might eventually cause him to lose his home. By March 31st, 1984, relations between Marvin's parents had soured significantly. They had been sleeping in separate rooms for nearly a decade. An argument erupted over a missing insurance policy document, with Marvin Sr. accusing his wife, Alberta, of misplacing it. Marvin intervened, demanding his father leave Mama Alberta alone. That night, however, no physical altercation occurred. The following day, April 1st, just a day before Marvin's 45th birthday, the situation worsened. Another dispute over the missing document led Marvin, dressed in his maroon robe, to confront his father after overhearing him shouting at his mother again. The confrontation turned physical, with Marvin shoving and punching his father. Mama Alberta managed to stop the scuffle. It is said that Gaye Sr. had been on several occasions quoted telling his children he brought them to this world and had the power to take them out.
Wow.
He left Marvin's bedroom in a few minutes at approximately 12:38 p.m., reappeared with the pistol gifted to him by his own son. He fired the first shot into his son's chest. As Gaye slumped to the floor, his father walked over and fired another shot into his chest, point blank. Marvin's brother Frankie, who was next door, rushed over upon hearing the shots only to find Marvin critically wounded. Holding him and trying to stop the bleeding, Marvin, struggling to speak, uttered his last disturbing words. "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." Marvin had attempted to take his own life a couple of times during his time, the first being after Tammy's death and problems with the label, which Berry Gordy's father had talked him out of, but didn't quite have the guts to go all the way. Marvin was pronounced dead upon arrival at California Hospital Medical Center, marking a tragic end to the longtime feud between father and son, and also his own tortured and disturbed life. Initially, news of his death was met with skepticism due to the coincidence of April Fool's Day. But confirmation of the event plunged fans worldwide into mourning, with many rushing to buy his remaining records on the shelves to remind them of the legendary singer. An estimated 10,000 people attended Gaye's funeral, which was conducted by the chief apostle of the House of God, his family's church. Smokey Robinson gave a reading, and Stevie Wonder sang. Gaye was laid to rest in his gold and white uniform-style suit with an ermine wrap around his shoulders. He would be posthumously elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987. Marvin Sr., on the other hand, was given a 6-year suspended sentence and 5 years of probation for the shooting. During this time, Alberta Gaye filed for divorce after 49 years of marriage. Gaye eventually returned briefly to the Gramercy Place residence, but health issues forced him to move to a nursing home, first in Inglewood around 1986 and in the final years of his life, to a nursing home in Culver City, California, where he died of pneumonia on October 10, 1998, aged 84. Many who were with Marvin in his final days point out that he seemed to have lost his zest for life, appearing desperate for an escape. Even though this might have been the case, how he exited was cruel and in no way justifies the act. His reluctance to confront his personal challenges might have ultimately overwhelmed him, yet it is his extraordinary musical gift that we remember most vividly. His genius lay in his ability to convey deep emotions through his music, which served not only as a form of expression, but as a therapeutic outlet. When Marvin performed, it was as if he was painting on a canvas of melodies and lyrics. It's intriguing to consider how his life might have unfolded differently had he not entered the entertainment industry, or if he had addressed his personal demons more directly. He gained the world, but ended up losing his soul.
Well, only thing I can say about that, it's a lot of answers, a lot of questions not being answered. But like Brother Prince said, Brother Call Me Kim folks did the number rundown, numerology, I can't think right now. Brain fart, but you know what I'm saying? It's just some number codes on how they do shit to kill off folks through different numbers. I think it is numerology or some shit like that, but there's like ABC 1, 2, 3, A being 1, B being 2, and C being 3. And they basically do these numbers to dictate on how they're going to do things to certain people in the industry. And Marvin Gaye was one of them. Not to mention, we're going to move right along because there's another artist that got messed over industry-wise. And he was pretty much on the same concepts as Brother Marvin Gaye, but I think I'm not gonna go into him. I'll probably go into him. I might just do a part 2 of this since Russ stepped off because we didn't have technical difficulties. So I think I'm gonna do a part 2 of this. But we're gonna go in with Phyllis Hyman and what happened to her. If y'all never heard of Phyllis Hyman, she was a well-known singer, but she just never really got her credits due because of her so-called arrogance and things of that nature, that folks said that she was kind of hard to deal with. And those folks, you already know who they are, Little Hat folks. But we're going to go into the video on her.
I like to be bound by my word, and those people who have worked with me over the years know that my word is my bond, and I don't go back on that. Artists, unfortunately, are oftentimes concerned with being musically correct and having on the right clothes and the right makeup, and that's not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough.
Hit the music world today. R&B singer Phyllis Hyman was found dead in her apartment this afternoon.
Phyllis Hyman, known by many monikers like Love Goddess and the Sophisticated Lady, epitomized the essence of a true artist.
A million times or more I've thought about you.
Her voice, rich with depth and emotional intensity, brought songs to life, touching the soul deeply. She not only made you feel whatever story she wanted you to hear, but also understand what she left unsaid. Standing at 6 feet with an undeniable beauty, Phyllis was a vision of elegance and power on stage, embodying the very definition of royalty. Beyond her artistry, she was celebrated for her intelligence and confidence, navigating the music industry with a clear vision. Like Sam Cooke and others alike, she championed freedom, especially for minorities. With strong convictions on this, she brushed many the wrong way, often viewed as a threat and others uncontrollable. Phyllis's refusal to conform to industry standards, particularly Clive Davis's push for her to switch to then fan-favorite pop music, highlighted her unwavering resolve. Her resistance was not just about artistic integrity, but also intertwined with her personal battle with bipolar disorder, which made her particularly sensitive to external pressures to change. This condition played a significant role in her struggle against industry demands, reinforcing her belief in her self-worth and resistance to compromise. Tragically, her life ended on June 30th, 1995, just 6 days before her 46th birthday, under circumstances that sparked debate among fans, with some suspecting foul play, while others attribute it to drug overdose, marked a somber end to the career of a fiercely independent artist. Before we delve deeper into the circumstances surrounding her tragic end, it's crucial to address mental health. If you or someone you know is battling a condition like bipolar disorder, it's important to remember you're not alone. Reaching out for help and seeking appropriate care can make a significant difference. Being there for someone, listening, and offering support can be incredibly powerful. Sharing one's struggles can lighten the burden. Problems shared is half solved, so they say. Our ultimate goal is to foster an environment where everyone, young and the old, can find a reason to smile and hope. Phyllis Hyman was definitely battling a lot prior to her demise, and as a somewhat strong woman who many looked up to, it came as a shock as to why she decided to take that route. How did it come to this? How did it reach to a point where someone who knew her worth, possessed everything to make her dream a reality, reached a point of giving up? This is the untold story of Phyllis Linda Hyman. In the latter half of the 1800s, Ishmael Lynch, son of Native Americans George and Melia Lynch, began working on the plantation of William Hyman, a slave owner in Hamilton, Martin County in North Carolina. William Hyman enforced a policy requiring the Native Americans on his land to adopt his surname, leading Ishmael to become Ishmael Hyman. On this plantation, Ishmael met Cassandra Cross, another native working as a housekeeper. The two fell in love, marrying in 1870. By 1874, they welcomed their first child, James Benjamin Hyman, eventually having 8 more, including Zachariah Henry Hyman, the grandfather of celebrated actor Earl Hyman, known for his role as Russell Huxtable and Cliff's father on The Cosby Show. Ishmael, a staunch advocate for liberation, something that would be seen in Phyllis later in her life, worked tirelessly to secure a better future for his children. And so, following the Civil War, which saw the abolition of slavery, he invested around $35 to buy land in Goose Nest, Martin County, through one Solomon Hyman, a significant step towards establishing his family's legacy. His son, James Benjamin, a Baptist minister and farmer, would marry Lizzie Hilliard in 1896 and together sire 6 children, among them Philip Hughes Hyman, born in 1919. In the late 1930s, facing unimproving conditions in North Carolina, Philip Hyman and 2 of his brothers migrated north, eventually settling in Philadelphia. Shortly after, Philip was drafted into the Army, serving from December 1941 to November 1945, stationed in North Africa. Returning to Philadelphia, he began working in his brother's barbershop, and while in his adventures, met Louise Lively, a waitress at a local nightclub. Louise had faced a tough childhood under the hands of her mother, and was working there in a bid to sustain herself. Their relationship grew more than cordial, and before they knew it, Louise was pregnant, leading to marriage between the two shortly after. On the 6th of July, 1949, she gave birth to a sweet little girl, her name Phyllis Linda Hyman. With the mother retiring to fully raise her kid, Philip had to step up to provide for his people. He left the barbershop for a job as a postal clerk at the railroad. The family moved to Pittsburgh's St. Clair Village housing projects. Rapidly expanding their family, they faced severe challenges. Louise fell into chronic depression, exacerbated by the birth of 2 more children in quick succession, forcing them to give their youngest to family friends as they were unable to cope. Surprisingly, the couple went on to add 4 kids, totaling 7 in number, something that did more harm to the already ill Louise. To add salt to the injury, Philip was always absent, due to working overtime at his railroad job. An absent father plus an ill mother, a recipe for disaster. The household descended into chaos, with the children suffering neglect, unkempt and untidy becoming their middle names. And if you thought this was the worst that the cruel world had thrown at the Hymans, here's more. Working overtime took a toll on Philip, the sole provider of the family. Coupled with the aftermath of his time in the military, he developed back problems, forcing him to early retirement on medical disability. He had no option but go back and do barbering part-time in their basement. But the financial and emotional strain caused frustrations, driving him to heavy drinking and time to time verbally abusing Louise in front of the kids. In the neighborhood, the Hyman family faced disdain, fueling a sense of self-loathing among the children who blamed their circumstances on their parents. Phyllis, feeling a fleeting sense of being cherished in her early years, always considered herself distinct from her siblings, whom she dismissively called, quote, her cousins. Unaware of her mother's struggles, she often rebelled and turned a deaf ear to her advice, mirroring her father's verbal abuse towards her, and also intimidated her younger siblings into submission, further complicating the family's dynamics. Jeannie, the third-born who had been under the care of family friends for her first 6 years, recognized the need for change. With resolve, she took on the responsibility of preparing her younger siblings for school, ensuring they were presentable and fed, aiming to introduce some semblance of order and care into their chaotic lives. Back to Phyllis, with her self-centered trait, she didn't care about the others, but herself. In fact, as a kid, she always perceived the family's poverty as a curse, and was quoted saying she wanted no part in it. It also made her develop resentment towards marriage even more, and to her, all she wanted was to grow up to be an independent rich woman, and not follow her mother's footsteps.
Dream as a child was to be a rich, successful, single, childless, Afro-American woman.
With her spunky and strong personality, her rebellious nature drove her to look for guidance out there on her own, developing an extroverted character in the process. Unbeknown to her, she had a hidden talent, a talent that didn't take long to get noticed. While attending Philip Murray Elementary School, her music teacher, the beloved Eleonora Lasesna, God rest her soul, noticed her vocal talent and dedicated herself to nurturing Phyllis's gift, offering the encouragement and guidance her parents could not provide. Renowned for fostering a love of music and elegance among her students through her innovative concerts, Mrs. Eleanor ensured she brought the best out of her students. Under her care, Phyllis was in safe hands, very safe hands. It is believed that her special talent may have been passed down to her through Walter Lively, her maternal grandfather, who was a musician and traveled the U.S. to perform in the early 1930s. By the time she attended Knoxville Junior High, her mature voice stood out, making her a local talent show sensation. Her unique combination of light skin, extroverted personality and humor won her popularity across all age groups in the school. While in 6th grade, some 7th and 8th graders approached her with the intent of forming a vocal group, giving her the lead role. Due to her young age, they had to get permission for her to sing with them. Going by the name the Centrails, they performed in a number of talent shows and always emerged winners. When alone, Phyllis would at times tag along her sisters as her backup singers. Music, initially just a special skill for Phyllis, took on new meaning after she was inspired by Nancy Wilson's voice on the radio. That magical voice changed her trajectory in how she viewed music, and Nancy's voice became the standard unit of vocal prowess. Phyllis also sang with the prestigious Pittsburgh All-City Choir and worked as a backup singer at Steel City Records. Joining Carrick High School after, her popularity soared. She became a member of the Student Council, the Human Relations Club, intramurals, and of course, the choir. Her music teacher, David Tamburai, recognized her talent immediately and decided to take a special interest in her to the extent of offering her extra lessons. To him, she was a natural. Fast forward in 1967, she managed to graduate and immediately joined a trio group called the Sounds of Ebony, marking the beginning of her professional musical journey. Around this time, David Tamburai, Phyllis's former music teacher at Carrick High, landed a position at the Robert Morris Business College and was tasked with establishing a music department for its transition to a fully accredited state university. Recognizing Phyllis's talent, he ensured she received the college's inaugural music scholarship. Meanwhile, back home, things went back to worse. Her father left, deeply affecting her mother. Phyllis's strict maternal grandmother stepped in, but her presence only intensified their mother's depression. During this tumultuous time, Phyllis decided to move out to live independently. Joining college was not something Phyllis was well prepared for. Her social life, marked by drinking and smoking weed, clashed with her academic and musical commitments. Her teacher, Tamburai, tirelessly supported her, to the extent of securing her performance opportunities at prestigious jazz clubs like the Lowendy Club and Crawford Grill, where she impressed. Her talent was undeniable, well as observed from those around her, who believed she was destined for greatness as a vocalist. But Phyllis was always in doubt of her potential and just wanted to do things her heart wanted. It didn't come as a surprise when she dropped out of college after just 1 year in and momentarily stepped away from music for a clerical job at General Electric and later as a secretary at Westinghouse and followed by neighborhood legal services. Her aspiration for a corporate career was hindered by her chronic tardiness, suggesting her true calling lay elsewhere, beyond the confines of a conventional job. Phyllis had gone back to doing small gigs around town when one day her musical journey into the music industry took a significant turn after she was discovered by the legendary pianist Dick Morgan at a charity event. He offered her a chance to tour with his group, New Direction, an opportunity Phyllis embraced wholeheartedly.
And then in '71, I was asked to join the New Direction, headed up by Dick Morgan, a wonderful pianist. I joined the group and I really liked being on the road. I liked singing professionally.
The tour exposed her to the professionalism and business aspects of the music industry, but the group disbanded 6 months later, prompting her return to Pittsburgh. To keep herself occupied and also sort her bills, she took a job as a babysitter, but grew tired after 8 months. The unfulfillment fueled her drive to go all in on music, something that gave her life meaning. Her passion led her to Miami, where she successfully auditioned and joined the band All the People. Her talent shone in Miami, earning her solo gigs and collaborations with bands like the Hondo Beat and work with greats such as Joe Donato, whom she revered as the professor of jazz. Phyllis's rising fame in Miami attracted the attention of director Bob Fosse, who was in Miami to shoot a biopic titled Lenny for comedian Lenny Bruce. Bob invited her for a cameo. While working with the Hondo Beat, a group that regularly played on assorted cruise ships, she met Larry Alexander, a Jamaican vocalist, and the two quickly became lovers. Shortly after, when Joe Donato's contract in the city ended and he wanted to take the group on tour, Phyllis opted to remain and decided to form her own band called Phyllis Hyman and the PH Factor, which featured bassist Mark Agan, drummer Billy Bowker, guitarist Hiram Bullock, and keyboardist Clifford Carter as the original members. With the group, she played every genre and never quite limited herself. With this, it never took long before they became known to a point of landing 6 nights a week gigs around Miami. Phyllis was in her element, and her determination was seen in her work rate. What was separating her from her childhood dream of becoming a successful business lady was her hard work, something she was ready to put in. One of the gigs she had was at a club owned by Lenny Levenstein, who was really impressed by her and saw a huge potential in her. So he arranged an audition for her at TK Records, the parent company of Alston Records. Despite impressing the executives at the auditions, negotiations fell through due to Phyllis's insistence on independence, a stance that she took with other producers too. In around the festive season of 1975, seeking broader opportunities, Phyllis and her group decided to take their talents to New York, marking a new chapter in her pursuit of musical acclaim. Upon arriving in New York, Phyllis Hyman and her band quickly made a name for themselves at Russ Brown's Club, captivating audiences with their eclectic music selection. Their unique sound drew attention, including that of Norman Connors, a drummer and composer with Buddha Records, who was searching for a voice to replace John Carn on his album, You Are My Starship. Impressed by Phyllis's performance, Connors immediately offered her a solo deal. A year later, he tapped her to sing the lead in his version of the Stylistics classic, Betcha by Golly Wow. He also arranged for her to sing We Both Need Each Other with duet partner Michael Henderson. The album turned gold, reaching number 5 on the US R&B chart and number 1 on the jazz chart. Hyman's collaborations expanded to artists like Pharoah Sanders and the Fatback Band as she worked on her debut album. Released in 1977 by Buddha Records, Phyllis Hyman marked the beginning of her rising fame, attracting attention from stars like Roberta Flack, who tagged her manager, Mick Jagger, to come see her in one of the tours. Her tall stature and beauty added the oomph in her already heavenly voice. Her career would further blossom with endorsements, such as a Burger King commercial secured by her husband and manager, Larry.
And oh yes, America loves burgers at America's Burger King.
Her second album, Sing a Song, featured Gonna Make Changes, a song she wrote which served as a powerful tribute to activist Angela Davis. The song showcased Hyman's commitment to social change through music. The song was good for her, but bad PR for the label, as it created a rift between the fans. Struggling with negative publicity and a lack of chart-topping releases, Buddha Records found itself on the brink of collapse due to financial difficulties. At this critical juncture, Clive Davis, freshly ousted from CBS Records and eager to establish his new venture, Arista Records, stepped in to acquire the beleaguered label. This acquisition included transferring Phyllis Hyman to Arista, a change that promised fresh opportunities. Davis, with his proven track record and a personal motive to validate his prowess in the music industry post-CBS, was exactly the catalyst needed to rejuvenate Phyllis's career. Her debut album under Arista was Somewhere in My Lifetime, released in 1979, featuring the Barry Manilow-produced title track. From the outset, Phyllis's working relationship with Clive Davis was fraught with tension, primarily due to a clash of egos. Phyllis had always been accustomed to leading, whether it was her band, her autonomy at Buddha Records, or her relationship with Larry. Under Clive Davis's management, however, she encountered a different dynamic, with Davis's assertive approach dictating the direction. Despite this, Davis recognized Phyllis's talent and was committed to propelling her to stardom. His strategy involved steering Phyllis towards the pop genre, aiming for broader appeal, which further strained their relationship. Amid these professional challenges, Phyllis sought stability in her personal life by formalizing her union with Larry in a marriage ceremony held in Florida around September 1978. Back to Arista, Clive Davis arranged for Phyllis to collaborate with producers James Mtume and Reggie Lucas on the album You Know How to Love Me. The title track gained significant traction within R&B circles and on dance floors. Yet, as Arista Records began signing other prominent artists like Dionne Warwick, Angela Bofill, and Aretha Franklin, Phyllis felt sidelined. Accustomed to being the focal point at Buddha Records, she struggled with the shift to being one among many talents at Arista, which precipitated a slide into depression. Seeking autonomy and a sense of control amidst these challenges, Phyllis pursued opportunities beyond Arista. She contributed background vocals to the Beck family's debut album, Dancin' on the Ceiling. Additionally, Phyllis auditioned for and landed a role in the Broadway musical Sophisticated Ladies, a tribute to Duke Ellington. Despite Clive Davis's reservations, fearing it might detract from her recording commitments, Phyllis embraced the opportunity, going against Davis's order. Her performance in the musical for 2 years not only showcased her versatility as an artist, but also earned her the Theatre World Award for Best Newcomer, marking a significant achievement in her career amidst the turmoil. Simultaneously with her increasing success, Phyllis released another album under Arista titled Can't We Fall in Love Again? The standout track, the title song, a duet with Michael Henderson, soared to number 9 on the R&B charts, marking her first solo top 10 hit. This achievement catapulted her into high demand, with offers pouring in from magazines to modeling gigs. She was back in her prime, reminiscent of her days in Miami, thriving in the spotlight and exerting control over her career trajectory. However, the relentless pace and the repetitive nature of her engagements began to take a toll on her. She grew increasingly irritable, impacting her personal relationships, especially with her husband, Larry. The strain led to accusations of infidelity and disagreements over starting a family, pushing their marriage to the brink. Reportedly, Phyllis had terminated 2 pregnancies during their relationship, prioritizing her career over family life, a decision reflective of deeper, unresolved childhood trauma. Although she cherished the idea of children, she didn't feel prepared for motherhood. During this tumultuous period, Larry, no longer acting as her manager and focusing on his career, agreed to a mutual separation, marking the end of their marriage.
Why did it end? I think we just grew apart. You know, he went one way and I went another. And
would you give up the money and success for the husband and kids?
forget it.
Following her success in Sophisticated Ladies, Phyllis unveiled her 4th album with Arista, Goddess of Love, in 1983. The track Riding the Tiger gained notable popularity within LGBTQ circles, becoming a beloved anthem at drag shows throughout the mid-'80s. However, tensions between her and Clive Davis escalated, leading to an irreparable rift. Phyllis's steadfast refusal to shift her musical style to pop, as Clive suggested, was a constant source of conflict. Clive, on his part, expressed regret over not securing Gladys Knight instead, upon acquiring Buddha Records, hinting that Phyllis was not his first choice. This revelation deeply upset Phyllis, who detested the idea of being considered a secondary option. Their disagreements often devolved into heated exchanges, with Phyllis resisting Clive's directives and openly confronting him, something that never sat well with Clive. During a hiatus,
meaning that Clive Davis wasn't feeling her because he felt like he wanted her to be what he wanted her to be, and she didn't want to be what he wanted her, what he wanted her to be. As far as a pop singer, she didn't want to be that, and so he literally turned his back on her and ended up hiring this young lady that we all truly loved and know to be who he wanted her to be, and that was the young, late, great Whitney Houston. Check it out.
in her recording career due to disputes with her label, Phyllis Hyman diversified her talents. She lent her voice to movie soundtracks, television commercials, and provided guest vocals for artists like Chuck Mangione, The Whispers, and The Four Tops. Same year, she recorded Never Say Never Again, intended as the title track for the James Bond film of the same name. Unfortunately, legal issues prevented its use in the movie. At Arista, the situation remained bleak. Phyllis's manager, Glenda Gracia, made every effort to mend the rift between Phyllis and Clive Davis, urging them to reconcile and collaborate once more. However, for Clive, that opportunity had long passed. Known for his disdain for uncooperative talented artists, he made a decisive move in 1984 by signing Whitney Houston, an emerging talent, as her replacement, effectively signaling the end of Phyllis's tenure with the label. The termination of her contract with Arista deeply wounded Phyllis. Each episode of stress and depression transformed her, but this particular setback was especially painful. Freshly divorced from her understanding and protective husband, Phyllis faced loneliness and unfulfilled dreams at 35. Haunted by her desire for children and the memory of 2 abortions, she spiraled into drug and alcohol abuse, intensifying after her separation. Cocaine, once used sparingly, became her constant escape. Her volatile mood swings prompted her manager to suggest professional help, leading to a bipolar disorder diagnosis, a condition familiar within her family. She sought therapy and was prescribed medication. Disliking how the prescribed medication dulled her creativity, she chose to self-medicate instead. Despite her vow never to sign with another label after Arista, the opportunity from Gamble and Huff's Philadelphia International Records in 1985 was too enticing to decline. At Philadelphia International Records, Phyllis Hyman released Living All Alone in 1986, featuring standout Torch songs like Old Friend and the introspective title track, alongside You Just Don't Know. Around this period, she encountered Tad Fanar at a supermarket, sparking an immediate romantic connection. Fresh out of rehab, Phyllis felt rejuvenated with a newfound sense of purpose. In 1987, she teamed up with Barry Manilow to record Black and Blue for his Swing Street album on Arista, a collaboration stemming from Manilow's long-standing appreciation of her talent. Following this, she made appearances in the movies School Days and The Kill Reflex, in addition to contributing vocals to projects with Grover Washington Jr. and Lonnie Liston Smith, among others, and embarking on international tours. Despite her professional resurgence, Phyllis reverted to her previous coping mechanisms, including alcohol, cocaine, excessive eating, and promiscuous behavior to manage her emotional turmoil. Her romantic involvements, spanning a wide range of partners, only deepened her despair due to the inability to establish a lasting connection with someone she truly loved. The cumulative weight of these issues led Phyllis to attempt to take her own life with sleeping pills in June 1990, a year after a prior attempt. Recognizing the severity of her situation, she was encouraged to head back to rehab, which she did in January 1991, seeking a path to recovery. Following her stint in rehab, Phyllis Hyman released Prime of My Life on June 11, 1991. This album stood out as the pinnacle of her career and was the final one she released while alive. It showcased her first #1 hit on the R&B charts and her inaugural entry into the Billboard Top 100 with Don't Want to Change the World. Additionally, the album offered 2 more R&B top 10 singles, Living in Confusion and When You Get Right Down to It, alongside the moderately successful I Found Love. A little over a year after this release, she made her final appearance on a Norman Connors album, delivering the title track Remember Who You Are, which enjoyed minor R&B success. In 1992, both the album and its leading single were certified gold by the RIOA. Phyllis's battle with sobriety faced setbacks in 1993 following the deaths of her mother and grandmother within a month of each other, plunging her into a severe depressive state. Fast forward in 1994, she suffered a broken foot during a performance, necessitating a period of rest. This downtime led to weight gain and a struggle with self-esteem, exacerbated by the industry's harsh scrutiny over her appearance, despite her undeniable beauty. She also faced a serious financial turmoil due to cavalier spending to feed her addictions. As these challenges mounted, she descended further into depression, trapped in a cycle of self-destructive behavior. She grappled with feelings of unlove, loneliness, and existential despair, questioning the meaning of her life amidst the overwhelming emptiness.
Yes, I'm gonna ache, but I will.
It's true, bro. It's true. Welcome to the show, my brother.
The events of June 30th caught everyone off guard. In the weeks leading up to her scheduled performance with the Whispers at the Apollo Theater, those close to her noticed alarming signs. She had several books about death and made unsettling comments about her past failed attempts, noting she had learned enough to ensure her next try would not fail. This deeply worried her friends and family, prompting them to watch over her diligently. With her 46th birthday just around the corner, Phyllis invited her friends to New York to attend the concert, hinting at an exciting announcement about her career. Unbeknownst to them, Phyllis had a different agenda in mind for that day, She had decided that June 30th would be her final day, planning to end her life after the concert. Her invitation was in essence meant to be a final goodbye to her loved ones. On that fateful day, everything was going as planned till she sensed that her inner circle might have caught wind of her tragic intentions. Unwavering in her resolve, she quickly improvised, deciding to carry out her plan before the concert, contrary to her initial post-show plan. To ensure privacy for her actions, she dispatched everyone around her on various tasks. She instructed her assistants to return in the afternoon to wake her for the sound check. Via phone, she reassured the show's promoter, Mary Flowers, of her performance that night, even requesting her to get her a special meal from Sylvia's renowned soul food restaurant to be ready in her dressing room. An hour later, at around 2 p.m., when her assistants arrived at her apartment, upstairs they found a note from Phyllis saying she was napping and did not wish to be disturbed. With a growing concern, they knocked repeatedly on her bedroom door, receiving no response. Their alarm escalated upon discovering her bedroom door locked from the inside. They quickly sought the help of the building's superintendent to gain entry. The scene that greeted them was heartrending. Phyllis lay unconscious, propped up by pillows, with a note and a pen loosely held in her hand. The note, penned in unsteady handwriting, seemed to echo the turmoil within. "I'm tired. I'm tired. Those of you that I love know who you are. May God bless you." Upon their arrival, emergency responders detected a faint heartbeat. Swiftly, they administered oxygen to Phyllis and transported her to St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital. For an agonizing hour and a half, her loved ones lingered in the waiting area as medical professionals endeavored to save her. Despite their efforts, it was to no avail. At 3:50 p.m., Phyllis Hyman passed away, her long battle with pain and despair coming to a close.
It hit the music world today. R&B singer Phyllis Hyman was found dead in her apartment this afternoon.
At the Apollo, the somber news of her departure deeply affected many, including the Whispers, who considered canceling their show as a tribute. Fans arriving were met with the news, leading to a mix of responses. Some gave their tickets away, while others sought refunds and were accommodated. The event teetered on the edge of cancellation until Phyllis's band members intervened, advocating for the show to proceed, believing it was what she would have wanted. Mary Flowers, the event's promoter, managed to uphold both Phyllis's memory and the Apollo spirit by ensuring the show went on, an action that resonated well with the audience that chose to stay. Demonstrating remarkable generosity, she ensured Phyllis's band was compensated, prioritizing respect over profit, a rare quality among promoters. The performance that day was charged with emotion, leaving an unforgettable impact on those who witnessed it. Phyllis Hyman's memorial service would later be held at St. Peter's Lutheran Church in Manhattan. Phyllis had just finished recording her album, I Refuse to Be Lonely, shortly before her death. The album, a lyrical journey into her personal life and death, was released 5 months after her death. Both the title track and the single I'm Truly Yours became minor R&B hits. In September 2007, an authorized biography was released, entitled Strength of a Woman, The Phyllis Hyman Story. The book is written by Jason A. Michael in cooperation with the estate of Phyllis Hyman. I would highly recommend those yet to read it to do so. It's worth reading. Finally, it's easy to judge Phyllis for seemingly surrendering to her challenges, yet only she knew the depth of her battles. Her story sheds light on the misunderstood and highlights the importance of empathy. Surrounded by many, she always felt profound solitude. Perhaps adherence to her medication could have altered her journey, but frustration steered her towards actions that strained her professional and personal connections. Nonetheless, her undeniable talent and allure stand out. Much like Billie Holiday, Phyllis was a trailblazer, setting benchmarks and refusing to conform. She might be gone, but her legacy will never be erased.
But to be afraid. I'm not giving in.
I will say this much. I want to say, first off, God rest dead to that sister. But the thing is, they're giving bits and pieces. That's not really, I don't believe that's not really what happened to her. because she was truly a very strong-minded artist that basically seen herself as more than what the industry wanted to provide and offer her, and she did not like that, and she did not want to go along with it. Anybody know about Clive Davis? Clive Davis is the bigwig of CVS Sony Entertainment Records / Sony Entertainment. He is basically the industry. If you worked up under, if any artist worked up under Clive Davis, they wouldn't dare say anything bad about this guy, because he's supposed to be the boogeyman times 20. But I mean, the boogeyman times 20, he will see to your death. And the thing is, the sister, when she first got on the scene and got eye to eye with Clive Davis, when he look at an artist, he sees the artist to be what he say is fits him. If he say, hey, Jeremy Hill, you look like you a good hip hop artist, and you want to sing R&B, he gonna be like, no, I don't want you to do that. I want you to do hip hop. You gonna either do hip hop or you ain't. Phyllis Hyman, he wanted her to sing pop. She said, I'm not a pop singer. I want to do what I want to do, which is a mixture of everything, mainly jazz, like a jazz type of sound, and that made Clive feel some kind of way, because he seen that he wanted to bring her into the concepts of how he basically signed Whitney Houston. Because if you listen to the documentary, she was really the Whitney Houston of the industry at that time, because he wanted her to be how he basically trumped Whitney Houston to be, but it didn't work out that way. Because Phyllis, like, this is what I expect, this is what I want to do, love it to leave it alone. So I guess she mustn't really know how Clive Davis really rolled, and probably didn't give a fuck at the time until he basically had to make an example out of her. And it really fucked her up, And that's probably one of the big reasons why she got out the industry. Got fucked up in the industry like she did, and started taking drugs and started eating a lot and all of those stuff. Because it really fucked her up, because she really didn't know what she was stuffing her foot into. Hell, the way I see it, she could have just went independent and did it independently. That way she would have to cross those devils that she basically pursued in the industry. Because the industry is cutthroat, regardless of how you want to look at it. That's the reason why I'm doing this podcast story about our culture, black entertainment, because there was some good and there was some bad. Mostly the bad was the artist was getting fucked over with money, royalties, and clout. A lot of these artists that you heard, even like Phyllis Hyman, for example, a lot of folks, they never really heard of her because they literally had her under the radar because of that shit with her and Clive Davis. Straight up like that. And you say, bruh, he said, that's why we got to own our own. Exactly, bruh. Thank you. Because when you have your own concepts of ownership of everything that you put out here in Western society, nobody can change that but you. But at the same time, they don't like for us to have our own anything, because they know it's going to be great. They know that it's going to sell, and they know that it's going to be worldwide. Everybody going to want to jump on it. Because Jay Prince, Suge Knight, and I think Irv Gotti all was trying to go in to do a distribution business, and they wouldn't let it go down. They started throwing up charges and threatening, all kind of weirdo shit that kind of basically threw all that shit to the side. See, all they want to do is put like Suge. No, I think it wasn't Erg, it was Diddy. I think it was Diddy. P. Diddy. They all swore to go in. All three of them brothers swore to went in and did a distribution thing. Because when you do distribution, that means the whole world gonna listen because you're distributing all the contents right in y'all circle. That means everybody gonna get a whiff of it. You know, it's gonna go worldwide. Everybody gonna hear about it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing about it. Like, you know, Master P did No Limit. But the No Limit label was one thing, but when he had to get it distributed, meaning taken all over the world, he had to go through a big company like Priority Records at the time. Then later on, Universal. And that's what Suge Knight and them was trying to do. They were trying to do a big distributional company like Universal, Sony, and Warner Brothers, Time Warner. Well, they wouldn't let it go down. Yeah, I mean, Master P, you know, the reason why P got a lot of money because P basically he put a tag on everything that he had, and then on top of that he was bringing out all these different artists back to back to keep the genre growing. So, you know, that's what made him real great. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, bro, if we had our own shit, we ain't got to worry about who's doing what and what's doing who, because the thing is, like I said, it's gonna stay in the circle. And like I said, you know, guys, you know, I did, bro, before you jumped on, I did Teddy Pendergrass, Marvin Gaye, because they said Marvin Gaye, you know, back in the days, 1984. I don't know that I know that could be true, and I know that could be false, because the thing was, Teddy Pendergrass, I keep saying Teddy Pendergrass. I guess I'm gonna put that. I'm gonna bring that video up next, but before I get out of here, but Marvin Gaye was getting very unhappy, and what I mean, he was getting very unhappy because he felt like he wasn't getting treated right when he was at Motown, and that it was like, you know, but Marvin Gaye wasn't the only artist on the Motown label that felt some kind of way about Mr. Gordy fucking over them as far as the royalties and money and stuff was, you know, and the labels was concerned. I mean, the rights to their music was concerned. It was like, I mean, because I heard a story where this guy, the late P.D. Green, he was one of the first black radio show hosts back in the days, and he used to play a lot of music. You know, when he get to talking, he'll play songs and stuff, but he would never want to play Motown music. And the reason why he said he didn't play Motown music, he'll play Stax Records music like Otis Redding and Sam Cooke and, you know, stuff like that. But when he got to the point where motherfucker was like, you know, why you never play no Motown? He said, I don't like Mr. He said, I don't like Berry Gordy, because Berry Gordy is a hustler and a pimp. So, you know, and he literally said it on the radio show, and almost got this radio channel in Washington, D.C. shut down because Berry Gordy had a production team and the publicists and all that shit in Washington, D.C., and they were listening to this radio station. And they literally made threats on that radio station. They're like, if you don't get this goofy ass nigga off the radio talking about Motown, you know, yeah, because Berry Gordy, Berry Gordy had that. He had the clout. I mean, you know, he was a black man. It don't mean nothing, but it's always a method to madness on how you get things in this in the industry. Because he was a big wig at one time, but he would never play his music because he said he heard it was stories in the street saying that Berry Gordy didn't pay his artists like he was paying them peanuts. Only thing they was getting was cars, and you know, you might get a house every now, you might get a house or something, but that was it. You wasn't getting your money. And a lot of times when you get these houses and stuff, it don't even be in your name. It be up under his. It can be up under the person that you working for's name. So when you fuck around and don't sell no more records, they just take your shit. So, but I'm trying to see. Let's see where that video at, cause I want. But it's a video I was looking at earlier today on Teddy P. And I wonder is this the one? Let's see. Let me see what this was here. Cause they got a whole bunch of. Okay, I don't want to show that again. Damn, they got one on. They got one on Donna Song. I already know about her story too. I might show that later on. I'm gonna show that. Let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and do. If I can get Teddy P up here. Teddy P, where you at? There you are. I'm gonna do this, and this is gonna be the last video for the night, y'all. But y'all need to check this out. But you know, the thing is about Teddy Pendergrass, he had a lot of jealous. He had a motherfucking rival, Marvin Gaye and Bobby Womack, and you know what I'm saying, artists like that back in the day, they were singing love songs just like he was doing, and they didn't too much like Teddy P like that, because Teddy P was getting he was getting them hoes, them bras. He's also they blackballing Master P Food Ventures, put his stuff on the shelves. We need to have our own. Yeah, we need to have our own grocery store. I remember when I was coming out in California back in the days, we had our own grocery stores and laundry mats and ice cream parlors, chicken shacks, all that stuff. Record stores, especially. We had it going on back in the 70s and 80s. But it's just all of a sudden now you got this new generation, bro, where motherfuckers just want to go to college and be a goddamn computer brain motherfucker that don't want to. I ain't gonna go there. We're gonna hear it alone. I had a bra I had some bras on my partner page not too long ago, bro. He's posted a picture where it shows. It sound like your content now, bro. When you get a chance, bro, Jeremy, you know what you ought to do. See if you can find some contents on TikTok where they show the difference between a man raising a young man versus a woman raising a young man. Because my partner, he did a video, he did a post on Facebook. Oh, I sent you a Facebook page, a Facebook request. I don't think you probably be on your Facebook that much, but I sent you a request back here a couple of days ago. He did a post where it showed that, and them females told into his ass. And even some guys was like, yeah, that's a lie. Hey, a man can't do all of those shit. And I'm like, and I got on there and I told the brother, I said, let me tell you something. I said, the women that don't agree with you on this post is the women that literally is seeing their son, seeing themselves through their son, because they're raising their son to be the same concepts of them. Meaning that I raised this little nigga just like I am, bitter, insecure, and crazy as a motherfucker. So yeah, they gonna get mad and pissed off by his post, because it was true. A woman can't raise a man by herself. It's not destined for that. And then you say you love God and he's, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know what God you talking about. That God you talking about ain't merciful. That must be some loop. Shut up. But we're gonna leave that alone. We're gonna get on into this goddamn video. All right, Teddy P.
Teddy Bear Pendergrass, a man who was blessed with it all.
Looking back over my years, I guess copyright infringement on the music. Hold up.
It was intriguing, and it exceptionally powered his timeless, smooth, and seductive music. Over to his looks, only the ladies can describe him better. A tall, handsome, stylish man who oozed confidence, they found him irresistible. In fact, in his unique, women-only concerts, many of them used to throw lingerie on stage.
Yeah, I remember.
That's how crazy they were for him. Topping this up with his electrifying performances.
I remember my dad, no doubt, no lie on that, what that Caucasian guy just said, because I remember my dad told me this some years ago when I was young, saying that he had a concert in Inglewood, California, which is a suburb of Los Angeles, where the Lakers used to play at the Fabulous Forum. And he had a big ass banner that says, "Women only. Teddy Pendergrass concert. Women only. No men allowed." And women was in that motherfucker like 90 going north, and said when he got on that stage, he didn't start singing good. Motherfuckers was throwing panties all on the stage. And I said, God damn. Imagine that, going to a concert with women up there throwing their fannies on the stage. They talk about R. Kelly. Shit. R. Kelly was cool in the 90s, don't get me wrong. But Teddy P was one rushing the show with them women, goddamn. I mean, he made them women goddamn go into a trance. Literally. I mean, Lord knows, don't they need to bring days like that back again, so women can be women all over again. Yep. I mean, you know, I ain't gonna lie, I love that brother's music, man. Even though I know I heard some dark secrets about him, like, you know, he's a little, as they call, zesty now. You know, before he passed, God rest, but you know, here we go. We're gonna get on this video.
And alluring persona, he was often seen as a symbol of sensuality, aptly nicknamed the Godfather of Sex. Yet Pendergrass was more than a magnetic performer. His intelligence and articulate nature distinguished him in the music industry. He was notably astute in business, a rare trait among his contemporaries. Being the first African-American artist to achieve 5 consecutive platinum albums from 1977 to 1980 was just one of the testaments to his unmatched talent and appeal. However, his soaring career took a tragic turn on March 18, 1982. He was involved in a devastating car accident on the notoriously windy and curvy road in Philly's Germantown, leaving him paralyzed from the waist down. This incident plunged him into a prolonged period of depression and regret. Though he eventually mustered the strength to move on, he never quite regained his pre-accident stature. Speculations abounded regarding the cause of the accident, whether it was the result of foul play, karma, or a mechanical failure in his Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit remains a subject of debate. But before we dive deep into the chilling and disturbing details of that day, let's travel back in time and get to know how this gentleman defied all odds to become one of the most respected and celebrated.
Now listen to the code word, mysterious woman. That wasn't no woman. That was a trans man. Yeah, that's what it was. We'll go.
Celebrated artists of all time. From the dusty cotton fields of South Carolina to the prestigious stage of Carnegie Hall, this is the story of Teddy Pendergrass. Theodore de Rees Pendergrass was born on March 26, 1950, at Philadelphia's Thomas Jefferson Hospital, as the only child of Jesse and Ida Geraldine Pendergrass. His birth was special, and a special gift from God, according to his mother Ida. See, his parents had met and married in South Carolina in 1936, and had been together all through before Jesse, through the World War II draft cards Young Men, was called to serve in the military from October 1940, separating them temporarily. Through that short period they were together. It was hell on earth for them, particularly to Mama Ida. Even after the return of Jesse from service in 1947, even though Mama Ida had been praying all through, things didn't look up. The couple in some way had problems with getting a kid. Ida had suffered a total of 6 miscarriages through the years and was in despair. But her steadfast belief was the only thing that always kept her going. She even went ahead and made a covenant with her God, where she promised lifelong service to him in exchange for just one healthy child. And as she was on the verge of giving up, her prayers seemed to be answered when she became pregnant in mid-1949. However, in the 8th month of her pregnancy, Jessie abruptly left her for another woman, a decision possibly influenced by the trauma of their past losses and lack of faith. Lucky enough, Ida found solace and support in her church, the Glad Tidings Tabernacle Church. The church community rallied around her, with the assistant pastor, Reverend Branch, becoming Teddy's godfather. Teddy, named Theodore, meaning gift of God, truly seemed to embody this name. Mama Ida, honoring her promise to God, immersed herself and Teddy in the church's activities, attending services up to 6 times a week. Teddy's exposure to the church environment sparked his early interest in music. He began singing as early as age 2 and would dumbfound church congregants at age 3 when he fluently sang the song, "If I Could Write a Letter to Heaven." Teddy's upbringing was marked by his mother's steadfast support, ensuring he never lacked in care, nutrition, or luxurious activities like ice skating. Away from this, his academic prowess was evident from the first day he joined school at McIntyre Elementary School, where he excelled with ease. Despite suggestions for him to skip grades or attend schools for the gifted, his mother preferred a normal education for him with his peers. All through his schooling years, his interest was heavily driven to music class, and he wouldn't miss being in the choir of the schools he attended. Growing up in a religious environment and heavily influenced by his mother, Teddy grew to believe his calling was in ministry. At age 10, he was ordained as a minister and even occasionally addressed the congregation. A young Reverend Teddy would meet his father for the first time a year later in a poignant turn of events thanks to his mother. But tragically, his father would succumb from a knife stab in a dispute with a drinking buddy just a year later on June 12, 1962. A young Teddy who was trying to connect with his father would remain with this wound for the rest of his life. At the age of 13, Teddy's life took a significant turn when his mother secured a full-time job as a cleaner at Sciola's, a supper club on West Pike Street. Working there from 1953 to 1971, she was the only African-American employee, but was treated with great respect and was always seen as part of the family. This relationship brought notable benefits to their lives. The stable job allowed Ida and Teddy to move into a larger 2-bedroom apartment, giving teenage Teddy his own room. They also changed churches, joining First Pentecostal Baptist, which profoundly influenced Teddy's musical direction. The church's large bass drum and the way it was played by one of the ministers captivated him and sparked his interest in drumming. Over to his mother's workplace, which had heavy musical equipment, Teddy used the special privileges given to them to have him play the drums during off hours, fueling his growing passion for music even more. This experience shifted his aspirations from becoming a minister to pursuing drumming. The club's owner, Gaetano Sciolla, even made arrangements for Teddy to watch popular acts who performed at the club like Chubby Checker, going to the extent of having him shake hands and take a picture with the legend as a gesture of appreciation to Mama Ida's dedication to work. Moments like this fueled Teddy's growing passion for music even more. Looking at this picture, we have to give it to Mama Ida for instilling such class in Teddy from a young age. She definitely had a sense of elegance in her. They relocated again after some time to an apartment which brought them close to the Uptown Theater, Philadelphia's R&B hub. Here, Teddy witnessed live performances by a number of great Motown artists, but it was Jackie Wilson's performance which sent female fans into a frenzy that decisively influenced his ambition to become a singer. Witnessing the adulation Wilson received, combined with his growing interest in girls, solidified his desire to pursue a career in music. During his junior high years, Teddy Pendergrass attended several schools, including Fitzsimon, Gillespie, and Stetson Junior High, which exposed him to diverse cultures and people who didn't prioritize religion. His mother's full-time job also reduced their church attendance, and as Teddy entered prime adolescence, he began to drift away from his faith. However, his passion for music remained steadfast, and he continued to participate in school choirs, joining the Edison Master Singers at Thomas Alva Edison High School. Back home, living in a mixed neighborhood in Philadelphia during a time of heightened gang activity, Teddy found himself in a challenging environment. One evening, he witnessed a robbery committed by two young African-American gang members. When the police arrived, they wrongfully detained Teddy, mistaking him for one of the perpetrators. Despite the evidence in his favor, he was unjustly sentenced to 4 months at the Youth Study Center in Philadelphia. While incarcerated, Teddy tried to avoid trouble by socializing and engaging in vice activities like playing cards and smoking. Upon release, he focused on catching up with his studies, eager to make his mother proud by finishing high school. However, the influence of his peers began to affect his interest in academics. He started skipping school to drink with friends and serenade girls at parties, leading to a decline in his grades. After finding out that he had failed terribly and wasn't graduating from the 11th grade, he decided to quit school, much to the dissatisfaction of his mother. He would thereafter work various jobs, ranging from farm work in New Jersey picking peaches and blueberries to driving a cab and a delivery truck. Despite these challenges, his commitment to earning an honest living, influenced by his strong Christian upbringing, remained unwavering. And even through the odd jobs, Teddy's ambition to become a singer persisted despite, and was always on the lookout for opportunities. In the process, he decided to take an occasional gig drumming at the small local clubs and also formed the Paramounts with friends Tony Talent and Kenny Gamble. They met Gene Lawson, a talent scout, who became their manager and promised them stardom. Teddy recorded singles like We Got Love, Angel with Muddy Feet, and Should I Go or Should I Stay, but unfortunately never got to hear from Lawson ever again, nor the records. His resolve undeterred, Teddy faced yet another challenge, the Vietnam War draft. Despite a rule exempting those who were the only sons in their family, he was drafted. Fearing for his life, he sought a medical exemption. Rumor had it that consuming a cube of sugar before the physical could simulate diabetes-like symptoms. Teddy tried this tactic, and fortunate enough, he successfully failed the medical exam and was relieved to find his name omitted from the final draft list, allowing him to continue pursuing his musical dreams. At 18, Teddy Pendergrass seized an opportunity in Atlantic City, a hub for vibrant clubs with non-stop live music. Working as a waiter at Reggie Edgehill's supper club, he stumbled upon a life-changing chance when Little Royal, a performer styled after James Brown, was in need of a new drummer. Teddy auditioned and impressively secured the job. Despite his age, he respectfully sought his mother's approval, which Little Royal helped him obtain by assuring her that he ran a clean and legit organization. Mama Ida gave them her blessings. Joining Little Royal and the Swing Masters, Teddy spent a year gaining invaluable experience. However, dissatisfaction with financial arrangements led him to leave when the group had toured Quebec in Canada and headed back home disappointed, but his determination still unshaken. He joined a group called Signs of the Times as a drummer and later moved to the Soul Messengers. He was later hired by a group called the Cadillacs, where his journey took a significant turn when performing with them one night. Harold Melvin of the well-established Blue Notes spotted his talent. Melvin, seeking
Now this guy right here, Harold Melvin, God rest, was the beginning of the bullshit. And y'all see why.
fresh talent for his group, offered Teddy a position as a drummer, a decision that would soon escalate Teddy's career in unforeseen ways. Working with Harold Melvin marked a pivotal moment in Teddy Pendergrass's career. He often reflected on this time as the most significant in his professional life, crediting Harold for teaching him vital survival skills in the competitive show business. The Blue Notes, although regularly booked, were not headliners yet, but their persistence and resilience kept them going. Teddy, in particular, honed his drumming skills and started gaining recognition in the field. Despite their efforts, the absence of major hits meant performing in smaller venues, leading to financial struggles. There were days they went hungry and had difficulty affording hotel rooms. During these tough times, Teddy sometimes relied on his mother for financial support, who always came in handy. Initially, Teddy was known for his impatience, and as a drummer, his dream of singing seemed far-fetched. He occasionally sang with the group, but grew frustrated with the lack of opportunities to lead. Overheard discussing his intention to quit with a club dancer, Harold Melvin, not wanting to lose him, offered Teddy a chance to join the singing group, an offer Teddy received with both hands. Teddy's addition to the singing lineup, sharing lead vocals with Harold, began to draw more recognition and shows, though financial hardships persisted. Their fortune turned in 1972 during a performance at the Apollo Club in Camden, New Jersey, where they caught the attention of Kenny Gamble and Leon Huff from Philadelphia International Records. Their interest in the group marked the beginning of a brighter future. Harold Melvin rebranded the group to Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes to show the other members who was in charge of the group, and also due to his envy towards the now fan favorite Teddy Pendergrass. Under the new label, the group released their first single, I Miss You, 1972. The follow-up hit, If You Don't Know Me By Now, in September, catapulted them to mainstream success, topping the US R&B chart and reaching number 3 on the US Billboard Hot 100. This breakthrough allowed Teddy to indulge in some comforts, renting a lovely one-bedroom apartment in the Gypsy Lane Apartments and purchasing a gold Cadillac Coupe de Ville, symbolizing his ascent in the music world. Teddy's success with Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes brought him fame, wealth, and an extravagant lifestyle, aligning with his dreams. It didn't come as a surprise when he fathered 3 kids, all born in the same year, 1974. However, the thrill was short-lived as he became increasingly frustrated within the group. Despite being the key factor in the group's flourishing career, Teddy felt undervalued and overshadowed by Harold Melvin, whose authoritative control and minimal contribution to the group's performances irked him. Moreover, the group's name caused confusion, leading to Teddy.
Bro, much love. Appreciate you stopping by. I'm gonna be ending it anyway in a second because I'm gonna do a part 2 on this whole concept of black culture, good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Entertainment, rather. All that other shit. Appreciate you stopping by, bro, as always.
Inadvertently promoting Harold's name instead of his own. Determined to assert his significance, Teddy proposed renaming the group to Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes, featuring Teddy Pendergrass. Initially resistant, Harold eventually conceded, although he maintained control over the group's finances. Their third album under this new billing produced successful hits like Bad Luck and Hope That We Can Be Together Soon, and their fourth album's title track, Wake Up Everybody, topped the charts. Despite their professional success, their extravagant lifestyles led to renewed financial strains. Teddy, aware of Harold's exploitative tendencies, grew increasingly disillusioned, particularly when Harold's arrogance cost them gigs. An incident at the Playboy Club in Los Angeles exemplified this, as Harold's dispute with the club management led to the group shouldering their expenses for the week. While Harold stayed in luxury, the rest struggled financially. When the group approached Teddy to request financial help from Harold, a confrontation ensued. When Teddy went over to meet him, he found him with some of his white-heeled friends and hangers-on laughing and joking while doing drugs. He was very pissed at him, as in how could he be enjoying himself in a suite while his groupmates were starving and miserable. To calm Teddy down, Harold went over to his bedroom to get him something. A curious Teddy followed him and peeked around the doorframe, only to see Harold picking a stack of notes from what he believed to be thousands of dollars.
Green note.
After that night, he decided he was not going to take it any longer. He was going to quit. And that's exactly what he did. As news of Teddy Pendergrass's departure from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes spread, the group's popularity waned, leading to other members exiting to join Teddy. Despite threats of bodily harm from Harold Melvin, Teddy remained steadfast in his pursuit of a solo career. In need of a manager to navigate the business aspects of the music industry, Teddy turned to Tasmaya Lang, a smart, successful businesswoman.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this for right now. We're gonna have a part 2 later on, hopefully this Sunday, on this whole concept of the good and the bad of our culture in the black entertainment, industry. And we're gonna finish this whole concept of Teddy P, because this is an interesting documentary on his life and death situation. So we'll come back, like I say, Sunday on that and finish this off. Because I done almost 3 hours on this podcast tonight, and a little bit tired because I got to give me some rest so I can get over here into the Bay Area, part of the California, and get this load off me so I can go and get this other load and head up to Colorado if that's where I'm gonna go. I don't know yet. I ain't no telling. I ain't got no verification yet on that fully, but only I know tomorrow. Well, anyway, hope y'all guys enjoyed the podcast tonight. You know what I'm saying? As always, make sure y'all, show some love. Give your thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. You know what I'm saying? At DJ Chaos Mixmaster. You know what I'm saying? You got anything you want to promote, put out there, as far as business concern or whatever, or you want to join the podcast, you know what I'm saying? You can hit me up at chaoticdjsmusic@gmail.com. And you can follow me on Facebook, like a lot of y'all are watching me now on Facebook, either at Halo Jones or Maurice V. King Sr. And as always, on this podcast, we call it It's Just Our Opinion, because it's just our opinion. Regardless if you believe it or not, it's our opinion. So, just like you have your opinion, everybody's entitled to their opinion on this planet. That's what I'm saying. But at the same time, always find out, as my brother Dark Prince say, get the math. You know what I'm saying? Make sure 2 + 2 = 4 at all times. And don't believe the hype, because you have folks out here that'll tell you any and every damn thing. They want you to know not what you need to know. Big difference. And always use common sense while you finding out things in society that you want to know. Because even when you grow to find out things that you want to know, sometimes you're going to get this. Haters are going to hate. And they're going to hate on you regardless of what. You can do good, you can do bad, it don't matter. You got folks that come from different entities of life in this society, and they're going to hate on you one way or the other because they don't know no better. Only thing you can do is congratulate your haters, because that's what they do. This is their job. Even though these motherfuckers don't get paid for doing it, that's the weakest job on the planet, is to hate on somebody and you ain't getting paid for it. That's stupid. And anyway, you know what I'm saying? If you don't feel like you want to watch me on Facebook or YouTube, you can always watch me on Twitch TV at DJ Chaos _47. Anyway, I guess that's going to do it for the night, ladies and gentles. You know what I'm saying? I said gentles. Gentlemen. It's your boy Chaos. I'm finna go ahead and call it tonight. Y'all have a good night. Be safe, be easy. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. I'm out. Deuces.
Can we let the government of America off, because the government of the United States of America has proved to be the worst enemy of black people. So now when it comes time for justice, this is not spoken out of hatred or out of bitterness, but reparations have to be given to black people, even as Jews received reparations from the onslaught of Nazi Germany. And now the Japanese are going to receive reparations for what America did by putting them in concentration camps. What's wrong with the children of slaves We are here poor, ragged, hungry, naked, and out of doors. Reparations is what we want, and everyone that had a part in our destruction will have a part in paying reparations.